We're heading out to the West Coast, getting together, having a few laughs, and trying not to die as we go all holly jolly with our pal Argyle on this merry new episode.
Yipee Ki Yay, motherfucker.
We have a little temporary problem there. Now, that is how you start a Christmas show with me having no microphone on. Welcome to Totally 80s and 90s Recall. This is a podcast where we take a look at everything the memorable decades of the 80s and 90s had to offer, from music and movies to television and pop culture. If you're new to the show, we're so excited that you found us and promise you'll have an awesome time. And for our returning listeners and subscribers, it's great to have you back. I am one of your hosts, David, joined as always by the president of the Hans Gruber fan club and someone who apparently doesn't want me to speak during this podcast. It's my good friend, Rob.
Well, there are days.
He just shuts my microphone off.
There are
and says,
days.
You're out of here, buddy.
Hey, so some people might realize that there are people out there that still write letters. And sometimes we get letters.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And the other day I received a letter.
Physical mail letter.
Came in the mail.
All right.
Yep. Little listener mail. And it was addressed to all three of us.
No.
Yeah, so I'm just going to read it. And
Okay.
it's in entirety. Okay. So it says, Dear Dave and Rob and the Movie Hound. That's very nice. I cannot express how much your episodes have helped me get through the Christmas season, as this is often a very difficult time for me. It's during this time of year I find myself remembering the worst thing that ever happened to me. It was so horrible. It was Christmas Eve and I was 9 years old. Me and my mom were decorating the tree, waiting for Dad to come home from work. A couple hours went by, Dad wasn't home, so Mom called the office. No answer. Christmas Day came and went, and still nothing, so the police began a search. 4 or 5 days went by, neither one of us could eat or sleep. Everything was falling apart, it was snowing outside, the house was freezing, so I went to light up the fire. That's when I noticed the smell. The firemen came and broke through the chimney top, and me and Mom were expecting them to pull out a dead cat or a bird, and instead they pulled out my father. He was dressed in a Santa Claus suit. He'd been climbing down the chimney, his arms loaded with presents. He was going to surprise us. He slipped and broke his neck. He died instantly. And that's how I found out there was no Santa Claus.
This is a great letter.
When I start to remember that very traumatic day, I find myself putting on an episode of Totally 80s and 90s Recall podcast, and I'm instantly whisked away to a better place and time. And it's signed Kate Behringer from Kingston Falls, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Very nice.
There you go. So thank you, Kate Behringer, for that letter, and that we can
Glad we can brighten her up a little bit.
yes, that we can bring a little cheer to a difficult time of the year for her. And
I have a hard time believing that's real, but if it is, Kate, yes, glad we can help you out.
From Kingston Falls, Pennsylvania.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, what an uplifting hello to start a Christmas episode.
No.
Thanks a lot, Rob.
Yeah,
you
no
always
problem.
hit the right notes
right.
on this show. You always take us to just the place we need to be.
That's right.
So along with Rob, taking a break from his Santa gig at the mall, it is the Recall Movie Hound. Hopefully his microphone works. Welcome and Merry Christmas, Kurt.
Hello, gentlemen, and thanks for welcoming me back to your party, pals.
Party pals.
No, and it
that's
begins.
good, right? All day, right?
All day.
He knows.
Yep.
Okay. So, well, to everyone listening, Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, depending on what you do or do not celebrate this time of year. And as of the debut of this episode, it is just 5 shopping days away from Christmas. Rob, you got all your shopping done?
No, we're not even
Good.
close.
Way to wait till the last minute. It's
We
perfect.
usually do.
That's the best. You only get the best gifts when you wait till the last minute.
That's right.
That's right. So, well, Rob, Kurt, and I could think of no better way for you to get ready and ease the stresses of the holiday season and relive perhaps the greatest movie at Christmas ever made, and I will hear no argument otherwise.
You're going to. So
No, there is no argument to be had.
No.
I will not take your what word am I thinking of?
I don't know. I
know.
don't want to be in your head.
Oh, yeah, that's not a good place to go. I don't want to hear your dissension today.
My
at all, Rob.
dissension.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Well, I think you're going to hear it.
well, I don't.
I have to hear you, and I have no choice. And
No
so
choice.
You get to hear me.
But thanks all the listeners out there that are listening to all of us.
That's right.
We're going to put
apparently
away
we don't
our
want to hear each
Rob's
other.
ever the salesman, as you pointed out before, David.
You
We're
know
going
what it is.
to
We
put
don't wanna hear each
away
other.
our petty differences.
All right. Well, guess what, Rob? Despite you not wanting to hear anything anybody else wants to say today, apparently, why don't you listen to yourself and go ahead and tell everybody what our episode is about?
So we are looking at the 35th anniversary of Die Hard.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
How excited are we?
We I'm excited.
That wasn't even kind of a full sentence.
No,
Just go ahead.
I do like that movie.
Oh, it's
I like it a
awesome.
lot.
Yeah,
I like
it's
it.
great.
As far as
there's
action.
no other way to die than hard.
That's true. Yeah.
Mm.
You can't die soft.
No.
Don't
You've never seen anybody die soft.
don't die soft.
How good do you think this movie would have been if it had been that? Like there was
Die
one,
soft.
there's one producer in the room. Hey guys, do you think Die Hard's the right word here? Maybe die soft. Yeah, Bob, get out of the room. Right. You're fired. Die soft.
Die flaccid.
Yes.
Now see, you're in a different part of the video. Still
Sorry.
with that one.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
so,
You're in the back corner with the curtain.
Behind the curtain.
Yeah.
so all right. Well, $1 million question.
Yeah.
What do you remember about seeing this movie for the first time, or when do you remember seeing it for the first time?
Mm.
Ooh.
I was thinking about. I knew you were going to ask something like that, and I don't remember seeing it in the theater. I think it was probably a rental.
Mhm.
I mean,
Oh, okay.
I don't think this is something that we would have gone to the theater and saw. But,
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you go to the theater and see anything?
Yeah, a few movies growing up.
Okay.
Yeah.
You weren't a big theater goer.
No, we didn't go.
Okay.
He was like me. No
What about
money
you?
For, no money. Parents had too many kids.
I can.
But
They
I
were
do
fun.
remember.
Could've got to the mall.
I don't know if it was the first time, but I remember sitting on the couch with my dad. My dad loved Die Hard.
Oh.
So it was always one of those that we watched whenever it came
Mhm.
on TV or whatever
Nice.
it was. So we were always watching.
Always watching. I saw it in the theater. So this came out in 88.
Yes.
Mhm.
So I'm 12.
Uh-huh.
Much older.
Mhm.
than
Yeah.
me.
I talked my dad into taking me.
Ooh.
It was awesome.
Yeah,
You know, Yeah.
I just remember it
it
because
has everything. It has everything a 12-year-old would want to have.
Yeah, well,
We got things blowing up.
Mhm.
We got heroes. Great pair of New York boobs.
Nope, those are LA boobs.
All boobs are a great pair of New York
Well,
boobs.
but they were New York boobs.
They were. Huh?
Were they?
No,
They're in LA.
they're in LA.
I know, but she's in LA, but they came from New York.
They weren't hers. It was the other ladies.
Which boobs are you talking about?
When they're clearing out the offices.
Oh, those boobs.
those
Yeah,
boobs.
boobs.
There's too many boobs. You can't remember.
Rob sees so many boobs he can't keep them straight anymore.
Well,
Hey,
Holly's
you're-
boobs weren't bad.
They weren't bad.
Yeah.
Those are a great pair of New York
Yeah.
boobs.
See what I'm see?
There you go.
Okay.
So
I'm not always wrong.
your wife's gonna love the opening of this podcast.
Oh,
About the boobs.
let's just get the apologies out ahead of time. I apologize to the Humphreys girls. They listen to this
again.
show. Yes,
I would
So-
recommend maybe not listening to this one.
it's too late
It's too
because
late.
they're already
It's too late.
in.
We've gone too far.
They've already
too
gotten
far.
in. We've already dropped the
We've
Yipee
gotten
Ki
Yipee Ki
Yay
Yay.
already at the beginning.
Now
So
we're covering the boobs.
Yeah.
He's
we got
already
boobs.
died flaccid.
It's all
Yeah,
good.
it's
Die flaccid.
for anybody that's listening. It only goes down from here. So
that's
you have a
great.
decision to make.
Yeah,
This
perfect.
is either you
Your
keep
decision
listening.
decision is you keep listening.
Yeah.
Again,
That's all.
not a good
Yeah.
salesman.
So
So you got easy answers
Tuesday.
here. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I got to go see it in the theater. Talk my dad into taking me. He took me. It was great. This is one of the first movies I can remember asking for Christmas
mhm.
and getting the VHS,
Mhm.
and I actually owned it.
Ooh.
And then I got to watch it. And then after a few years, it got to a point like it would skip in the middle because I think I rewound it too part and
Mhm.
one part too much.
Was it
Maybe
the LA
for the New York
boobs?
boobs.
Yeah, right. Yeah, pausing it.
Pause, rewind.
Yeah. No, my memories of this movie is I just remember it being super iconic, right?
Yeah.
Even as a young kid, there was a lot of scenes and a lot of lines that it just became common parlance for
Commonplace.
that generation in time. And
Oh, nice.
yeah, so I remember.
Yeah, are you feeling okay? Arms crossed again?
I just
Very confrontational again.
I have issues. All right,
It's
don't.
just his safety blankie.
Yeah,
Ah.
I need a weighted blanket.
All right. Machine guns, cocaine, pregnant ladies, and large German terrorists. Sounds like the holidays to me. So let's head back to 1988 and visit our favorite rogue New York City cop as we're going to die hard.
Oh, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. And since we've no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. It doesn't show signs of stopping, and I brought some corn for popping. The lights are turned way down low. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
That is a great song.
Hey, motherfucker.
That's a great song. Well, we'd like to welcome all of our pals to this party that is totally 80s and 90s recall. So to ensure the party never stops, take a second to hit that subscribe button and share it with a friend. I promise you won't want to miss any episodes, or your invitation to the annual Nakatomi Christmas party could get lost in the mail. That is not a threat per se, but just something that could happen.
Oh, okay. Wow. It sounded like a threat.
So,
Nope. It's just
It was
possibilities.
a veiled threat.
yes. So before we begin reliving this week's featured motion picture, we like to give you, the listeners, the important information about it. And the only hound I know that can sniff that stuff out is the one and only Kurt.
I do have a good
Take
sniffer.
it away. You do have a good sniffer.
It's a little crooked from
It's a
being
little-
kicked in the face. A rough
Well,
soccer time.
you're a soccer player.
That's right. Alrighty, so Die Hard is based on the 1979 novel Nothing Lasts Forever by the American writer Roderick Thorpe. The movie was released on July 15th, 1988, and had a modest budget of only $28 million, and the film had a worldwide gross of about $140 million. Die Hard is directed by John McTiernan, who is also known for his directing great movies like The Predator, Hunt for Red October, and one of the Die Hard sequels, Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Ooh, that's good.
It is good.
He's good.
The movie stars Bruce Willis as John McClane, Bonnie Bedelia as Holly Gennaro, Reginald Vell Johnson as Sergeant Al Powell, and the late, great Alan Rickman in what was his first film role as Hans Gruber. Die Hard is loved by both critics and the audience, as its Rotten Tomato score is a matching 94 for both. And now Rob, while Dave takes off his shoes and makes some fists with his toes, please tell us what this movie is all about.
Toe fisting, my favorite.
That's gross. Feet are gross. So
You said that bad, by the way.
It was fine.
we warned people.
We warned.
That was
Yeah.
clearly
Clearly.
we warned people. So here it's a Friday night. You're going to Blockbuster
I
and
am.
you're pulling out. Should we? It's 1988. Stop.
Time out.
Stop.
You can't stop in middle of sentences when you say phrases like that.
Can't stop.
Time out.
Yeah.
You can't double stamp a triple
I'm
stamp.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Now he's flustered.
All right, let's go.
I'm not
Rob.
flustered.
Go ahead.
Wait for
One
you.
more time. Read me the back of the VHS,
Yes,
please.
let's do it.
All right, so David Anson from Newsweek says it's thrilling. For sheer roller coaster thrills, the pick of the crop is Die Hard. Heart-stopping. This action film is different. Willis is a real guy, not a comic book hero. He's terrific. Die Hard is dynamic. That's Joe Siegel from Good Morning America. And edge of your seat, you'll have a whale of a time. That's Mike McGrady from Newsday. It says, high above the city of L.A., a team of terrorists has seized a building, taken hostages, and declared war. But one man has managed to escape detection, an off-duty cop. He's alone, tired, and the only chance anyone has. Bruce Willis stars as New York City detective John McClane, newly arrived in Los Angeles to spend the Christmas holiday with his estranged wife. But as McClane waits for his wife's office party to break up, terrorists seize control of the building, while the terrorist leader Hans Gruber and his savage henchmen round up hostages.
Yes.
McClane slips away unnoticed.
Mm.
Armed with only a service revolver and his cunning, McClane launches his own one-man war, a crackling thriller from beginning to end. Die Hard explodes with heart-stopping suspense. It's 132 minutes. Color, 1988.
Nice.
There you go.
Why, when you said cunning, you stared at Kurt like you're going to steal his wallet or something?
felt
Cunning.
felt a little bad.
You said something
Dramatic is
I
for
stared.
dramatic effect.
What you missed was when you were giving the information. I don't know what was going on over there, but he was literally staring right above your head, and he was just staring off the whole time you were talking.
Well, he was talking
So,
earlier about a
it's
spider
like,
that he
yeah,
We did
missed.
have a
that's
spider.
right.
There is a
I didn't
spider
know
in the
if he was-
studio.
he's
somewhere.
on the lookout for it. All right. So we've all seen Charlotte's Web. It'll be fine.
That's
So
right.
Don't worry about it.
I've
So,
also seen arachnophobia.
so we'll also
Not
be
fine.
fine. Also be fine.
Not fine.
Well, Rob, as you said, 35th anniversary, correct?
True.
All right. So this came out in 1988. This was the seventh highest grossing film
Oh,
in 1988. Big year for movies, by the way. Here's what landed right above it, going from number 1 to number 6.
Mhm.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Coming to America.
Mhm.
Good Morning Vietnam.
Mm.
Big.
Oh.
Crocodile Dundee 2.
Ooh, 2.
And 3 Men and a Baby.
Oh,
All right.
that's too bad.
By the
That's-
way, 88, monster movie for years. Other 88 movies, Rain Man, Cocktail, Dirty Dancing, Beetlejuice, Scrooged, Bull Durham, Bloodsport, Twins, Moonstruck, Young Guns, Fatal Attraction, Wall Street, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and The Great Outdoors.
we've
That
just-
is a list of movies
That is a good
Yeah.
year.
from
of movies.
1988. That is a year of movies right there.
And I'm Die Hard was number 7
Number 7
for the year.
for the year. Gross scene.
Seems like it should have been higher.
Well, did you hear what I read in front of it?
I know, but 3 Men and a Baby.
Did you ever see that? It's Gutenberg, Danson,
You
and
can't beat the Goot.
Selick. I
better
mean, come
better than
on.
Die Hard.
I didn't say it was better than Die Hard,
okay.
but I would say, being that it is a PG or
I was going
PG-13
to say,
movie,
Die Hard.
more people
R,
could go
so
watch it.
Okay.
Hard R.
Hard R because of the boobs.
Die
we
Hard gets a hard
discussed.
R.
The boobs.
Yes.
Do you think that's what gave it the or was the
It might have
It's
been
not
that.
the multiple shootings and
No.
blood
No.
spurting.
The
Nope.
blood or
It's those boobs.
the multiple F-bombs.
Oh,
None
yeah.
of that is what does it.
That's
So
right.
It's
Well,
the nipples.
let's address let's
I don't
address
remember seeing any.
the
nipples.
elephant in the room before we jump into our information on this movie and ask the question that is the question, Rob, that every podcast before us, because we are not creative, has asked this question. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? And so I will give my defense, and then you can babble on about how whatever you
Well,
feel
now you had a
about it.
category. Are we going
That's category 9.
Category 9.
We have a category.
We
at the
have a
end.
category.
I-
Of why?
Yes.
but-
This is a Christmas.
You know what? Then we'll save it.
do you want to say it? Because I will just go on record as saying I don't.
You don't think it is.
I don't,
Well, then
and
this
I-
is what we'll do. I
I
think
have-
it is a Christmas
Okay,
movie.
and I-
100%.
No.
Kurt, what side of the fence are you
I
standing
believe it is a Christmas.
on? All right,
Okay.
so we have a 2 against 1
against one,
scenario.
just the way
here.
Rob
and
likes it.
and the
He just tried to gloss over that. No big deal.
no, and I will acknowledge that I think the masses
Yes.
will agree with you.
So what
and
we'll
that's
do
okay,
is-
and I'm okay with that.
That's
I
good.
just
We'll go through.
I did an impromptu survey on Facebook, on our Facebook page. We had 16 participants.
Yes.
A whopping 16.
Whopping 16.
Out of the 16,
By the way, we appreciate those 16 that
Yeah.
participated.
yeah, 15 said it was.
Christmas movie.
And one, my aunt, said that it is
Said
not.
So what we'll do is we'll go
I
through the
didn't
movie, and then at the end we'll go over it again,
That's fine.
and we'll convince you that this truly is
It truly is a Christmas movie.
a very holly jolly Christmas movie.
Yeah, and I'm not above being convinced. I might, but I don't think I'm going to. But
Well, you're
I don't
taking
think
a
this-
bad attitude from the
I don't
start,
think
so
any. Well,
Your negativity is rubbing
that-
off, and I don't like it.
I don't. Yeah, it's not giving us a good.
You're going to
zen
make
in
me
the
close up
studio
with my arms
today.
crossed.
Yeah, everyone's arms are going to be crossed. So, all right. Well, when we look at this movie, we have John McClane starring the Bruce Willis, right?
Mhm.
But some other casting choices. I don't know if you fellas picked up on it. For John, they originally offered this to Frank Sinatra,
Did you see why?
who at the time was 73 years old.
Did you see why?
And yeah, there was some contractual thing that because another movie had been made, they had to offer per the studio him this.
He did
and
a
it-
1960s movie because the book that Die Hard was made for was actually a sequel.
Yeah.
And they had already done the first book, and so in his contract, any sequels thereafter he was supposed to be offered.
Well, I had read that Clint Eastwood actually owned the rights,
The rights,
to this.
yeah.
Yes.
Early on.
But Frank was 73 when they offered to him. So thankfully he turned it down.
He could have pulled it
He would-
off, jumping off the roof, no
Yeah,
problem.
no big deal. He had to stop and drink a glass of scotch. Hang on, fellas.
I think it would have been prune juice for him at that point.
Well, before they chose Bruce Willis, because he was not the second choice once Frank turned it down, we had the likes of Sylvester Stallone,
Yeah.
Harrison Ford, Robert De Niro,
Mm-hmm.
Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson couldn't do it. He was busy filming Lethal Weapon. Kurt Russell,
Mm-hmm.
Richard Gere, Burt Reynolds. How that would have been. How would you like him as John McClane, huh? Blow it out your ass. Blow it out your ass there, Hans.
That's right.
And of course, the one and only Arnold. He was also considered for the movie, but he did not do it.
Did you say John
So-
Travolta?
I didn't
read
see,
that,
You
yeah.
saw John too?
Yeah, it says he was
Ooh, that would've been
considered for
good.
the role, but 20th Century Fox wouldn't allow it because they considered that at the time they thought he was a has-been.
I mean, he was.
So they didn't get
At that time, he was. Well, that's not to be fair. He's on the cusp of doing Look Who's Talking.
But then he would co-star with Bruce Willis and Look Who's Talking.
And see, I told you he was on the cusp
And
of
then,
that movie.
and then 2 years later, he did Pulp Fiction, or more than that, but 6 years later, he does 94. He does Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction. And then, of course, we know he did Face Off. We've covered that extensively.
I was shocked that in your list you didn't. You might have said it. I don't listen to you.
That's right.
Al Pacino.
I didn't have Pacino.
He turned it down.
That would have been great, though.
Yeah.
Yippee Ki Yay.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
He would have changed it.
Fuck off.
What does he say? Or if he was make him Hans. Give me my detonators. Give me my detonators.
Holly's got a great ass.
There it is.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Al would have been good. So Al could have been either. No one could be Hans Gruber. That's blasphemy. But it would have been funny if he had done it. So
I also read that Sam Neill turned down the role for Hans Gruber.
correct. I saw that as well. He was actually offered it before, and then he turned it down. That would have been weird.
Yeah.
I mean, he's okay, but he wouldn't have been Hans Gruber.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have made a lot of sense.
Alan Rickman is Hans Gruber.
Well, yeah. Now that you have that,
no, he can't be.
you can't really do much else. So, other people casted in this movie. We have the dad, Sergeant Powell, the dad from
Family Matters.
Family Matters, right? He's in here, and then a lot of character actors, like folks you know that are just kind of around, like the lieutenant or the police captain. He's the principal from the Breakfast Club, and
Get the horns.
yep. And then you got old boy who's the reporter that was the Walter Peck from Ghostbusters.
Thornburg.
Yeah, you got a bunch of like character actors around.
Yeah, and then you had the Johnson, Big Johnson.
There's a lot
Johnson.
There's a lot of Johnsons in this movie.
Yeah, so
Did you see why they had the two? It was just an inside joke for Reginald L. Johnson.
Yeah. But Big Johnson was the guy from the Goonies.
Yes, he was. He was one of that sang the opera, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's a good singer in real
He
life.
was one of the Fratellis.
The Fratellis.
In real life, he's a recorded singer. He's an accomplished singer.
Oh man,
He's got many talents.
he's a singer. He's a criminal. He's an FBI agent. He does it all,
That's right.
ladies and gentlemen. So, well, I also saw initial marketing didn't even include Willis because the studio didn't think he was big enough of a star. So the first picture, it's just the tower and whatnot. But once the movie took off and became so famous, they remade the posters and added his face to the poster.
Yeah,
Put his face
I did
on.
read that. Yeah.
Because originally he was not billed as part of it because they didn't think he was. The studio took him, but he didn't think it was.
He was just a TV actor, pretty much from Moonlighting.
Yeah.
Pretty much from that point. So, movie opens. He's flying to L.A. from New York City. His wife, what we can determine, has moved to L.A. They're not divorced yet, but maybe on the cusp.
Yeah,
Right?
they're not doing well.
They're not doing well.
Yeah.
He flies out. You can tell this is 1988, right? Everyone's just walking around the airport any way they want to. He's smoking in the airport.
He's got his gun.
He's got his
him
gun
in
on
the-
him
on
the plane and in the airport. Nobody cares.
Yeah, those are the
Everything
days,
is
right? When
great.
you used to get. I mean, there's a whole generation of people that will never know what that was like to walk your relative to the gate,
to the gate and
you
drop
know,
them
and
off. Yeah,
that's
and be there when they got off the airplane.
yeah. No,
Now
not a-
you do it at the security gate. Oh,
Right.
I had a little shiver there.
What
a
the
Christmas.
heck was that?
It was
a Christmas.
It was the demons. The demons got him a little.
To get him out.
What?
You're gonna have to go to the YouTube for
the
that
YouTube,
one.
you're gonna have to see that one. I had a little. It's a little chilly in here, so I got a little shiver. And,
Wow.
I was in mid speak, so
Mid-speak.
sounds a little weird. We don't have to live on that all day though. So
We could.
where were we? We were talking about how
Anyway.
great the airport
Yeah,
was in
okay.
1988.
Yeah.
Is what we were doing.
Yeah,
So
he grabs his teddy bear. He grabs
Yeah.
He's got his gun.
it was that wasn't his carry-on, right? He got it literally. He just put it in the turnstile.
It was just in his
So when he
holster.
no, we're talking about the teddy bear.
Yeah,
He just literally checked the teddy bear,
He did.
and then it just came out on that turnstile.
Yeah.
They're just,
No, he grabbed it from
He-
the
it
he
was,
grabbed it from the
above,
overhead bin.
yeah,
and that was
yeah.
right. So he carried that on.
Yeah.
That's a big carry-on.
Yeah, and several times in this movie, he makes eyes with the stewardess. So he's a bit of a
Yeah.
player.
No, the ladies love it.
You know, he's
He's getting a lot of sly smiles in the airport
Yeah.
and all those
Yeah.
things. So, well, he's Bruce Willis.
so
They were
he's-
like, they saw him on Moonlighting.
That's right.
Right?
yeah. So he's playing the field. So that adds to the marital element. You know that there's some stress there. There's some,
Oh, yeah. And of course, he got the annoying guy sitting next to him on the plane.
Yeah. I thought that guy was very helpful. He, whole fist with your toes thing. That's good advice.
No, I wouldn't want.
Later, it
I
plays
don't want
off.
that advice. It's great.
It works.
Especially when it walks through glass.
Yeah.
Perfect advice. Thanks. I appreciate that. Real helpful.
Maybe
there,
that's
pal.
what toughened up his. He was able
Oh,
to walk
you
through
think
the
so?
glass because of the advice of this
I'm sure that's what it was. That's what he was thinking.
gentle stranger.
Yeah, good thing for that guy.
He was real gentle with him.
Make fist with your toes.
So he lands. He ends up in this limousine with our
Argyle.
best friend Argyle.
Mhm.
It's the best name for anybody after the sweater, of course.
And Argyle really gets into his business like right away.
Oh yeah,
He's just peppering him. with
very
questions.
invasive.
Yeah.
And I love that he's like, well, what are we doing? And he goes, I don't know. It's my first day.
Yeah. I thought you'd tell me.
Argyle's a lot of help.
Yeah.
Right. And then he sits in the front seat with Argyle. So that's great. And then again, smoking in the car. Doesn't bother to roll windows down, nothing. Argyle
No.
will be fine.
Yeah. Right. Well, it is the 80s. So then that's.
It's the 80s. So what do we got?
Kip and the boys. I don't think I have a camera, so I was just letting them
okay.
know. I'm blinking red again.
Did we die, Rob?
Well, we're going to.
Well, Kip and the boys are on it.
Are on it. So
I like how Argyle just loves having a party in the back of that limo.
he does. He takes that thing over.
He's partying with the bear.
And he really, I don't care how good that stereo is. He doesn't hear things blowing up in the parking lots of the towers.
He's blasting the Stevie Wonder.
I
He's got
understand that, but again, I don't care how good your car stereo is. When they blow up, say that machine, they call it the car or whatever they call that thing. The
RV.
The RV.
He calls
got
it an RV.
Yeah, that thing blows up. He doesn't hear anything. Nothing.
Yeah.
He's just sitting in the back seat talking to his girlfriend with his arm around the bear.
But he's having such a good time, he stops to watch the news because the news was on.
I love when he's in the car, and again, you can tell that when this movie happened, how dated it is, because he says we got everything in here: CD, CB, TV,
Oh, yeah.
VHS.
He's got a
full
CB.
bar. He got a
Yeah.
CB. Are we talking to truckers? What are we doing here? Right?
So he could listen in.
A lot of truckers making their way through LA in that situation. So he gets over to Nakatomi, and then they show us the upstairs of the party. So we got a sweet Christmas party happening up in Nakatomi, fully decorated. Everything looks great. And we meet his wife for the first time. And what I really liked about meeting his wife is she has a secretary, and her secretary, who's very, very pregnant, says, do you think the baby will like champagne?
Yeah. Do you think a sip would be all right? Well, that baby's ready to 10 bar.
Ready to 10 bar. Again, you're in the 80s, huh? That's great. That's good advice at that time. So,
It still
and then
works
you've
in
got
France.
don't they catch Ellis in there getting a bump real quick?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
He
You
gets
missed a little.
He gets several bumps throughout the movie.
Yeah, but I love
Ellis
how
is going.
the CEO has no problem.
No, it's on his nose.
Yeah.
Like we know what's happening.
Still
And
on the desk.
Look, Ellis makes deals. We don't care how he gets to the deals.
That's right.
He just
Bubby,
makes deals.
he's got it.
Bubby, baby.
Bobby.
That's what I got. So, and he's kind of creepily hitting on John's wife. Do you think they're together, or do you think he wants to be with her, or because just some of his comments are kind of
I was
don't know.
confused
Ellis
when
with his wife, with Holly?
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He wants to get with Holly.
but they're not hanging out
No.
because
she's-
her responses don't seem like
She's like, you're an idiot, but I have to put up
I
with
have
it.
to put up with you.
I like how he's describing the watch that she
Show her
gets.
the
Like, show her
watch.
the watch. Show her the watch. He's trying to act like, did he give her the watch? I was like,
I assumed they closed a deal or something together, and the reward was a watch.
but I was just thinking
So-
he didn't give her the watch because he was trying to act like, look what I bought her, but it's really just from the company.
Yeah. I do like what they're trying to do, though, initially, is they're trying to take New York John McClane, and like California is so much weirder and different
Yeah.
than New York. Like in the airport, this lady jumps into her boyfriend's arms.
Yeah.
And he laughs and goes, California.
Yeah, he says it several
And I'm
times.
like,
He makes a comment about
no one jumps in
California.
anyone's arms in New York.
Yeah.
No.
Like women and men don't embrace each other in New York City.
People
'Cause-
run at other people, they get stiff arms.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he looks at him and he's like, California. I'm like, yeah, what are they doing in New York? Get away from me, pal. So no fly zone.
Yeah, maybe that's.
Oh, so and then again, she's out there. He didn't go out there with her. He's a New York cop, and his scenario is he's got a pile of cases he hasn't solved. You can just transfer to LA, man. Like those are gonna. It's New York.
Yeah.
Those cases are not gonna just keep
Yeah.
stacking up.
Yeah, he doesn't help his character any, by not transferring out to LA. He's
They have
he does
cops-
paint himself as a bit of a dick.
Well,
because
he tries to paint
he's-
himself as the victim, like she left
Right.
him. He could have just gone out to LA and been a
Yeah,
cop.
but he didn't. I think he's very. I think we'll get to it later. But you talk about he's a very prideful guy, and so for her to be the breadwinner,
Yeah.
he's not having that.
I don't
And
think so.
So he's like, well, you go, and I got things I got to do here.
Well,
He's not going to take second
Yeah.
seat to her.
I did
will
like his
say-
little comment when he goes, "Well, you don't mind my name when you're signing
Yeah.
checks."
Right,
Yes.
right.
So that's good. Little
Yeah.
little jab.
Yeah.
Little jab.
Back-
Everything was
real
good,
quick,
and then
though,
we're right back to fighting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But real quick, back to the limo. Argyle plays Christmas in Hollis. We get our first shot at a
song.
Christmas song.
Uh-huh.
And what does he say? Play Christmas music.
No, he said, "Can we play some real music?"
Music.
And he said, "This is real. This is Christmas
Christmas music.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So another indicator
Well, that's
as
fine.
we move along that this
doesn't-
is being a
As we move along.
Christmas movie.
That's fine.
Someone in the airport says "Merry Christmas," like it's said out loud.
Well,
So-
I'll go on record as saying I understand that this movie happens on Christmas Eve.
All
I
right.
understand that.
Okay. So
I don't.
just want to be clear. By the way, what company does Argyle work for? Because he can sit in a parking garage all day. I think he gets a call that he's supposed to go to Vegas.
Well, that's what he told
Does
his
that-
boss.
Yeah.
When he's talking to his girlfriend, he says, "I told my boss we're on our way to Vegas."
We're going to Vegas.
Yeah.
So he had one person to pick up that day. That was his limo work for the day.
Mhm.
That's a weird company. Like usually you
Well,
pick
it's his
someone
first
up
time
and drop
driving,
off.
too.
Yeah, I think he's going to get fired. Now, I like Argyle, but I don't think he's doing a good job.
Well, and he helped himself to the bar at one point. I mean,
Oh, yeah. He doesn't
it's, he's not. This job is not a sustainable job. I don't think this is something that Argyle's gonna. Argyle's not gonna have a day two.
Nice. So, well, we're at the Christmas party. John
Yep.
showed up. Of course, he keeps making the looks like,
Yeah.
what is going on here? It's just a Christmas party. I mean, I don't
The
know.
guy comes up, kisses him on the
yeah.
cheek. He's
Oh,
like,
it's
"What?"
California. You know what I mean? Like that one. I'll give him that one a little bit. Maybe
Well,
in New York, people don't kiss each other
Yeah,
as
no.
much. Right.
Right. To add to your Christmas
Yes.
movie, he's whistling jingle bells as he's walking up to the desk.
I
So
mean,
there you
you're
go.
making your own argument at this
That's
point, right? So, yeah. So we get in there, and then we have, he goes and has the fight with his wife. He's in the bathroom doing the fisting of the toes.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Fist.
He's literally doing that. He goes, "Oh, that guy was right." You know what I mean?
He's not
Uh-huh.
fisting with his toes. He's making a fist with his toes.
It's the same thing. So, but then we have what I think is one of the coolest entrances for a bad guy in the 80s. So Hans comes rolling in with the crew, and they're just calm, cool, and collected.
Mhm.
And they just roll in and they just kind of take over. Like the first two are talking about the basketball game the night before. And by the way, he shoots old boy, the security guard, and Theo jumps over like, no big deal. It
Double
doesn't
kick.
matter.
Well, he
Yeah.
says 2 points.
2 points.
Like, yeah.
He doesn't care about people
No.
dying around him.
No.
That's not. They must be
No,
getting ready to pay him a lot. of
And
money.
later, I mean, Theo's obviously a sports guy because, later he goes,
shoots
and the quarterback
goals."
is toast.
He's got some cheesy lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't he Data from Star Trek Next Generation?
Nope.
That's not him?
That's LeVar Burton.
Oh, that's right.
Or not Data. You're thinking of
I gotcha.
Geordi.
Geordi.
Yeah.
That's right. Data
Yeah.
was the painted gold
That's
guy.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was thinking of Geordi. He's not Geordi.
I did read, I believe Theo, the gentleman that played Theo, he was in Walker, Texas Ranger.
He was also in Top Gun. He was the
Yes.
Rio that Cruz got after Goose died.
Yes.
Because they're
Yeah.
walking on the tarmac and he says, "We had it, man."
Yeah.
And then he grabs him.
I believe
That's for another day.
In real life, I believe he passed away.
Oh.
I believe the actor is
Well,
no longer living.
R.I.P. Well, he did a good job in this movie. So thank
He
you for that.
retired. He retired from acting and became a professor or something. He was a teacher at higher ed.
Mm.
Yeah, so he got out of acting.
Do we think Hans is the greatest 80s movie villain?
Yes.
Or all-time movie villain?
Yes.
I mean, there's some
gonna
tough.
say,
If I
yeah.
say all-time, that's tough because
No, I think he's all time.
Hannibal Lecter's
Definitely
tough.
on the
No,
Mount Rushmore.
right?
We'll
Mount
talk-
Rushmore. Yeah, he's not across the street.
We'll talk about it more later, but I think he created
Yeah.
the template
I got
for
you.
all
Yeah.
villains after. I think this movie changed
Yeah.
action movies
Yeah, it could have. I like your.
from the here on.
I like your that he's on Mount Rushmore. He's definitely not across the street with BA taking tickets.
Yeah, no.
No.
If he is on
definitely not.
a Mount Rushmore, he's far left. He's in Washington's.
Oh yeah,
he's in that
yeah,
spot.
he's really good. So
yeah.
I will say when they first come in and take over the building, feels like they're wasting a lot of ammo. Like the firing up in the ceiling.
Yeah.
And there's other floors up there. Their intent, I think, originally is not to kill everybody, but they're just firing indiscriminately upstairs. How do they know people aren't upstairs?
They don't care.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they don't.
Okay.
No, they don't
You've
care.
decided they don't
Yeah.
care.
they've done their research. They know that there's nobody on the 31st floor,
Oh, yeah.
32nd floor. There's nobody up there.
By the
Under
way, they
construction
show
above.
those terrorists. One of those terrorists looks exactly like Vigo in Ghostbusters 2.
He does.
He is a spitting image. I don't know if
does.
it's the same actor, but it was really close. And I don't understand them taking over because the one brother starts doing particular cuts of lines, and then Carl just comes in with a chainsaw and takes the
Just
whole
cuts
thing
them
out. I'm like, then what was he
Yeah.
doing on the ground?
Yeah.
I think
Like,
it was
what's
so
he
they
supposed to be doing?
So they can control the telephones.
But what I'm getting at
Yes.
is Carl starts yakking it
I-
all with a chainsaw. He's not giving him time to do it. So
I
let him
did-
do his part.
I did try to research
what
that
was the
because I
point?
couldn't quite understand why he wouldn't just wait for him to
Yeah.
do the.
brothers.
No,
But
I got that.
And he's like,
but-
I can't wait, and I'm just going to take a
Literally-
chainsaw to it.
But that's what I'm saying. It didn't make sense
Yeah.
when, if you're going to have him doing this exact wiring situation, then Carl shouldn't be doing that. And if Carl's going to do that, then why is he wasting time
Yeah.
with this situation?
Yeah.
It just didn't make any sense. I agree with you. I think they're trying to isolate something. But Carl says, F it. I'm just going to do whatever I want at
he's
this
not.
point.
He's not
Or-
going fast enough.
By the way, Carl has great hair.
He does.
I
does.
love it.
Yeah.
You know, he could go right out on Venice Beach. You'd think he was a surfer, just blowing in the wind. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's beautiful hair.
Yeah.
Good on you, Carl. You think he still has that hair? I'd have to see a picture of him today.
I
but-
believe he passed away as well.
Oh wow,
I think so. He was
Man.
a professional dancer in real life.
he was.
He
Or
was.
Russian American.
Yes.
Russian.
I think he
Of the
emigrated, right?
Bolshoi.
So
Well, he
Yeah.
He
And
just,
then,
he fled.
he did.
That's right.
And then they find looking for Mr. Takagi. Right?
Takagi.
Did they find
Takagi.
Mr. Takagi?
I am Takagi.
By the way, I'm quite impressed by Takagi. What do we got here? Cal, Stanford, Harvard.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
he's
Boy,
an educated man.
Educated dude.
That's why
Yeah.
he's the CEO.
CEO.
Yeah. That's right.
I got a question about Takagi though.
Yeah.
So they want bearer bonds out of the vault.
That's right.
Doesn't he
$640
just
million.
give them- Just give them the bearer bonds. They that company is a huge company. They have insurance. They're gonna get reimbursed for this. Why is that worth dying over?
I don't know. That's
don't
a
know.
great question.
You know what? I
was-
think actually, if you watch, because I've watched the movie many times, I don't think it's the bearer bonds. When they open that vault, there
art
is some
and-
odd stuff in there. There is like samurai outfits. There's this weird art. There's these other things in there.
Mhm.
What if they're storing? What if Takagi's not on like the up and up? What if he's storing stuff for who
Mhm.
knows? Who would he be storing stuff for?
Mhm.
Right? This Japanese company,
Yeah.
Yakuza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if he's a little dirty and the reason he doesn't want him
Yeah.
in the vault is because Yakuza would
Mhm.
X him as well?
Well, I
So-
did read a thread somewhere online and it talked about they weren't very smart to keep all of that stuff in their main building
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Nakatomi Plaza. And then they were like, well, how would they have known it was there?
Yeah.
And then somebody suggested, well, they had an inside person.
Yeah.
What if Takagi was the inside person?
Then why
he
did they
was
kill him?
because that's what happens.
I guess one less payout.
Big fish shoots the little fish,
Yeah.
and now
Well, but that also brings me to another part. They bring Theo in.
mhm,
They ask Takagi for the codes. Takagi says no. They kill Takagi.
mhm.
And then he goes, you can still crack it, right? Han says, Rickman's character, you can crack it, right? And Theo goes, yeah. So why even engage with Takagi in the first place? If Theo's there just to crack it anyhow.
Mhm.
Just trying to speed it up.
Yeah, I think that maybe leads more credence to the fact that maybe Takagi had more to do with it than.
I think it was more just to give kind of a introduction to Hans.
Mhm.
So it can kind of start to make him feel a little like psychotic, but cool at the same time.
Well,
Well, he
and-
was talking to him about his suits.
Yeah.
He was talking to him about how cool that
Yeah.
architecture stuff looked.
Mhm.
He
Well,
was
and
all those
he
things.
makes a statement, right? He sets an example. Takagi's the example.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Because he comes out and he tells everybody, he says, he will not be joining us for the rest of his life. Yes.
I do like that one. That was good. So, so all this happens. Obviously,
Mhm.
McClane sees it, and this is what kicks him off to be now our hero, which is
Mhm.
great.
Mhm.
I just have a question. In all the things he's doing, he could escape. Why wouldn't you escape downstairs? Go take out, by the way, that guy forever, I thought. The security guard they bring in.
Huey Lewis.
I thought that was Huey Lewis. My whole
He
life.
looks a lot like Huey Lewis.
And so he could have just gone and killed Huey Lewis, gone out the front door, and gone and gotten all the help and everything, right?
And him and Theo were the only two American
yes.
terrorists.
Well, and they had that one go-to 80s Asian terrorist.
Yeah.
Why, as soon as you saw that guy, like someone's going to have a martial arts fight with that guy.
That guy just likes candy, though.
All he's
Oh,
there
yeah,
to
he takes
do
the candy
is
out.
that Fu Manchu and that fading waterfall on the top of his head, and he's going to do martial arts at some point. It's just a matter of when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So that's his only job on the show right now is to do.
No, what was your question? You said, why did he go?
Why didn't he go downstairs, take out Huey Lewis, and just leave and go get the cops and everybody and bring them back?
Yeah. That's a good
Because
question.
if he could escape all those floors upstairs, he could have just as easily got downstairs and gotten out of the building. Holly, got to save Holly.
I have a couple. I don't know. I think one.
By the way,
from
another Christmas trope there.
What's
His
that?
wife's name's Holly.
Yeah,
There you go.
that's weak. That's weak.
What are you
That's weak.
talking about? That's weak.
Hey,
That's
I
her
get
name.
it. Maybe that.
But it's
I mean,
all
that's-
little pieces
It's
that
all
put
these
together.
pieces put a puzzle
Oh,
together.
whatever.
He is a puzzler, so he knows how these things
Okay.
work.
Is that what they call it? A puzzler?
I
Is
think
that-
he's making up words again.
Oh, okay. I was gonna
that's
say.
a word.
Is that literally what they call it?
We will
maybe a
Google
puzzler.
that after.
Like
but I
someone
think
that does
that's a word.
puzzles? Are
He's
they
a
called
puzzler?
A puzzler? Oh, hard
Sorry,
P.
hard
No,
P.
they're
Hard P. Get
they're
it easy with the
puzzlers.
Puzzlier.
No,
Puzzlers? Puzzler?
All right.
Okay.
Because ER means
All
a
right.
person who.
Well, we'll agree to
Look
disagree.
at you, fourth
Why-
grade
Why do
teacher.
you even know
using-
that?
Okay.
Yes, that's
because I
crazy.
teach it.
No, I think either one. It goes back to the fact that he's when it comes to action heroes.
Yeah.
He
doesn't know what he's doing.
doesn't know what he's doing.
There you go.
Yeah,
I can go with that.
you know, or he does know what he's
Well-
doing, and he knows that you want the high ground,
I gotcha.
and you want to get up, and
He doesn't know what he's doing, but he does subdue 11 highly trained terrorists on his own.
Are
barely.
they highly trained? 'Cause
Barely.
how well
Barely.
do they shoot?
I mean,
That's
Not
true.
great.
That's true.
I mean, they can shoot a window and make glass on the
you know
floor.
what I always find funny about 80s movies is where do you hire these guys? Like, do you
That's
just take out a ad in the paper and need some local terrorists? Anybody on hand?
And he does
It's
have
always
a
kind of German.
Henchman wanted.
Yeah, henchmen wanted German, some kind of Eastern European, henchmen that have nothing else to do.
Well, that's like on John Wick. You know,
You
there's
know?
like there's a whole underworld of it, and there's
Yeah.
they have their own hotel.
Yeah,
and,
where do you
and so,
hire
you
these
know, they
guys?
just show up at the hotel, and they.
But in the 80s,
I'm
you
looking
just
for a
get
hitman.
these groups of European men, and you're
Yeah.
like, let's go take over X, and
And
I'll
he-
give you $1 million.
He does have a
Sounds
weird kind of hodgepodge of
Oh, yeah.
terrorists. It's a different.
Well, they're
you know,
supposed to
different
be
languages.
Well, they're
and-
supposed to be Germans, except for the Asian guy, I think.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be Germans, and then Theo. But he picked Theo up in America for his
And Huey
computer
Lewis, I don't
skills.
think he's.
Yeah,
Yeah, Huey Lewis. I don't even know where Huey came from.
I don't know.
I assume they just
And that's
wanted
his-
some entertainment.
And that was his only role.
Yeah.
He just sat at the front desk
Sat at
the
front
whole
desk
time.
The whole time, watching the Lakers game.
All right.
I guess that's what he did. So,
Taking one for the team.
yeah.
All right.
So I was impressed that he's a New York City cop. And I'm not saying they're not highly trained individuals, but he manipulates and works an elevator like who has those skills? I feel like that takes training to be an elevator repair type guy, but he's able to reconfigure where it's going. He can open different doors. He can get on top of that. I'm like, where do you get all these elevator skills from all of a sudden? Like, shouldn't I go to DeVry or find some kind of like 14
Some
month
sort of trade
program?
school or something.
Something going on.
Maybe-
I'm like, just because you're a New York City cop, you can do everything.
That's right.
That's it.
Yeah,
He grew up in buildings with elevators.
he's a guy in the trades. Comes from a long line of
McLean
blue
is.
collar
I got you.
tradesmen.
McLean.
By the way, when you're walking through that building, you can tell there's no HR enforcement in this office building because the construction workers have put a lot of pornographic pictures up
Yes.
in
yeah.
the hallways.
Yeah.
And they're just posted to the walls. I mean, anyone could see them. They're not
Well,
hiding them.
And the fact that, I mean, just in general, that they had their office party
Yeah.
on site.
Yes.
I mean, that
on Christmas
People
Eve.
are
on Christmas Eve.
Late night Christmas
Christmas
Eve party.
Eve.
That's
we have alcohol.
People are
we
having
have,
sex in offices.
We have drugs. We have alcohol on the
Premises.
company premises.
Yes.
I don't know that HR is like going to write off on
Maybe
that.
the
but-
80s did not have.
But it was the
HR.
80s. They don't care. I don't think they cared.
They had HR. People got hired. Something had to happen.
You know who the HR lady was?
Uh-huh.
L.A. Boobs.
L.A.
that was
Boobs.
laying
Oh,
there.
yeah. She was the one in the
She
office.
was head
Yeah,
HR.
That's right.
Oh, well, I like that they were going to use Holly's office at first. They're like, oh,
I
our
know.
bad.
Yeah. Well, and I like how that
It was close.
That was close.
that got Holly kind of revved up.
Well, she probably
You know
didn't
what I mean?
want that on
Because-
her desk.
Well, no. What I mean though is I think
She
that-
got a little red.
Come in
Yeah,
the next morning,
she-
you just have an ass print on your desk.
Yeah, but I
That's-
think
don't
I
need
think
that.
those two coming in, I think then she kind of she says to John, "I really missed you." I think that was. I think it got her
Oh, you
motor
think
going.
she wanted to invite the two of them in?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if you're going to quite
I don't
force
know.
them, but
This is quite a Christmas present.
Yeah.
Hey, John, welcome to LA, California.
I know our marriage isn't going well, but I've decided.
But yeah,
That would be
it's
another.
been a long time.
That'd be another perfect California. What are you gonna do, right? So, there's no HR here. If it is, they're just having a good time too. So, Takagi lets them do whatever they want.
That's right.
Yeah, have a good time at the party.
As long as they make him money.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's
he
all he
doesn't
cares
care.
about.
He doesn't care.
In Japan, they party. They have fun. So, I saw that Willis suffered permanent hearing loss from all
did.
the explosions.
I did.
The blanks were actually modified in the guns to be louder,
Extra loud.
So
I
they're
heard
loud on
the
sets.
main part was when he was shooting under the table because
Yes.
it was bounce back.
confined.
Yeah.
Would be loud.
And I'd read they'd done something with plexiglass.
Oh,
They had kind of boxed him in underneath there to do something, I don't know, with filming and sound. And
Yeah.
so he was in an enclosed space.
it would have been really loud.
Yeah.
No two ways around that. So, I saw that Rickman had a lot of trouble with his American accent.
Mhm.
And in fact, the director hated his American accent. They made him do it several times, but then that's the take they got.
Well, I heard
so-
that they were originally not going to do the meeting scene
Mhm.
because they didn't think he could do an American accent. And
Yeah.
then he goes, well, I can't do an American one, but I can do an LA accent. They're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
all right, let me hear it. And it was close enough for him. So they went with
Yeah,
it.
almost had a southern twang to it
Yeah.
a little bit.
I also saw with Rickman when they dropped him, because they actually do drop him.
Yep.
For the
40,
scene.
it was a 40-foot drop.
40-foot
and-
drop into a big pillow or whatever. But they told him they were going to go on 3 and they dropped him on 2.
So it's a
so
real
that you got
reaction.
his real
Yeah.
face.
Real Teddy
of that.
Ruxpin face.
That's good. Rob. Do you remember Teddy Ruxpin's Rob? That was a good time.
Good
So,
toy.
Rob
Rob
and I-
still has one.
He does.
It's right next to his My Buddy.
That's quite a Friday night.
What
right
was
there.
my
Friday night.
big sister?
Big sister?
Kid sister.
Kid sister.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Come on now.
Kid sister.
Kid sister. You know what we needed on this Die Hard pod? Rob singing Kid Sister.
That's right.
Croon us.
Sister.
Wherever they
Sister.
go. Yeah.
I read that most of the German spoken in the theatrical movie is gibberish.
Gibberish.
Particularly by Rickman. They fixed it in the VHS copies because the Germans were not happy about it. And in the German release of the movie, the terrorists are not referred to as German because, again, they are not German and the
oddly
Germans don't
European.
like it. It just says, random Europeans.
Yeah.
Because the
Well-
Germans were not happy with them being portrayed as.
Yeah.
And I had read that was kind of common in the 80s action. One of the things that they referenced was in Predator, where they found that girl and she's speaking Spanish.
Yeah.
Apparently her Spanish is,
No
Gibberish.
bueno.
it's
Gotcha.
not good. And so, but they said that's just kind of, it was more important to get the feeling across than to be accurate in.
But it's
language.
funny how you have the 80s, you can tell when they do these types of movies, the terrorists are always kind of Cold War era Germans,
Mhm.
Eastern Europeans, Russians.
Mm-hmm.
And now whenever they do a movie like this, which they don't, but let's pretend they did,
Yeah.
they would use like Muslims or
Yeah.
something. So you can tell the Cold War era moving to the
Yeah.
post 9/11 era, how
Yeah.
the movies changed
Mhm.
their tone. But in this one, it's always the scary, like, Eastern European, Soviet, Russia bloc, that kind
block
of thing.
nations. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I guess the Germans got tossed in there.
Yeah.
Maybe it was that little World War II
Right.
thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you got
Still some grudges.
Still
got-
some grudge. No
Yeah.
grudges. We love our German audience. You guys are great.
You got Asian Dawn in there.
Asian.
That's right. I read about them in the magazine.
And what is that, Rob? The Asian Dawn?
It's a political
Oh.
group. Yeah.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And
Read about 'em in what?
In Time magazine.
Time. Was
Yeah.
it time?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was Time.
I
It
think
was
so.
time.
Yeah.
Didn't you make it up?
Because Carl kind of looks at it. I'm like, what? Who? And he goes, I read about it in Time.
That's because he was so smart.
Yeah. He
Alan
was smart.
Rickman.
He was smart.
Super smart
It's
Hans.
always one step ahead.
What do you think Hans was doing before he decided to steal all these bearer bonds?
Well, he was in that German terrorist group or whatever it was, offshoot.
Yeah. That's
Offshoot.
right.
Because they
Yeah.
talk about his background when they're looking him up.
I just wonder how he got to terrorism. He's in school. He's being trained
was-
somewhere
it was
in
forced
Germany.
period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Organized crime.
That's
I think he's
Okay.
he's an organized crime guy. He's a Russian mobster.
He's German.
German robster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's
German
I-
robster?
Yeah,
Robster.
That's a
Robster.
group you head up?
Did I say German
You did say
robster?
Robster.
Okay.
You got to get a T-shirt now
Hey,
for that.
That is
German
Robster. That's a group.
Become a Robster.
Yep, that's a group he heads up. So
I
some
want
of
a
our
t- I want a T-shirt with Rob's face that says, I'm a Robster.
Yep. Some of our fans on this show now will say that they're liking more with Rob's style of the show. Will be like, well, we're Robsters.
That's right.
We don't go to the Dave side. We're Robsters.
We're Team Robster.
Crap.
That's not going away.
That has potential to stay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember when we watched John Wick and those Russian Robsters showed up. They were tough.
They were tough.
They were
Robsters.
tough. He's tough.
Where do you apply
Dang
to
it.
be a Robster?
Yeah, I don't even know. You got to be at least 6'5". And if you don't like IPAs, you're not getting brought
That's
into
right.
the group.
Oatmeal,
Do you listen to vinyl? Oh, get out of here.
oatmeal stouts. An oatmeal stout.
Oatmeal
That
stout.
made it a lot worse.
Wow, it
You
sure
should have
did.
just stayed with IPA for sure. So, all right. Well, back into Nakatomi Tower. As much as I like hanging out with the Robster,
Or Fox Tower,
Or
as
Fox
it real
Tower.
was.
Oh, yeah.
it is the real Fox Tower. But in my life, it will always be Nakatomi. So, what else you guys got about the show?
Well,
show?
he
The
pulls the alarm.
He does.
Yeah, and I'm critical of the first responders.
Yeah, they're not doing a good job.
No, they're
No,
terrible.
they turn around. They don't even finish. They're like, oh, false alarm. We're just gonna turn around and go back. And
Well, it's LA. They get a lot of like alarms, and they can't do it all. They gotta pick and choose, right? But our buddy Sergeant Powell, he eventually gets tagged to go on over there.
mm-hmm.
He does
Yeah.
a great job too, by the way.
He does.
Great
Oh,
job
yeah.
investigating.
He does.
He talks to
He's
Huey
like, well,
Lewis.
looks all right.
I'm
Huey's
fine.
here.
Let's go.
when he's buying a lot of junk food.
Leave him
Yeah.
alone.
Hey, I like Twinkies.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. They're for his wife.
Yellow dye number 5.
That's right. So, but yeah, he doesn't do a good investigation when he goes over there.
Well, it's Christmas Eve.
I got it, but
He's pissed off because he's got to work Christmas Eve.
so in 1988,
He,
someone says terrorists have taken over Nakatomi.
Mhm.
That's the response.
But it
That's
was a
fine.
crank call
But that's what I'm getting at. It's fine. It's
per
crank call.
the dispatcher.
In
It's a crank call.
2023, if someone calls from Nakatomi Tower and
Well,
says
I'm
we have
ordering a fucking
terrorists over
pizza.
there, yep. Ooh, that was a hot take.
Yeah.
If it's 2023 and someone's calling and says, "Hey, we got terrorists taking over X building," is it just the one patrol cop that's going to show up? I'm pretty sure Homeland Security, whole world's going to get there.
I do have something about that later. That I do want to unpack that a little more. Yeah.
I mean, the 80s, there were terrorists. Planes were still hijacked. Things happened,
Sure.
not always in the U.S. So maybe there's a false sense of security.
And I read at this time in history, 88. And this is a little bit before my time, so I'm referencing something. I don't know the historical element of it.
Beautiful.
But there was the Lockerbie bombing,
Oh, okay.
and that was a terrorist thing that happened in 88 or something like that.
Yep.
So
Ireland,
that
right?
So that would have been recent, and so terrorist things were a thing. It was,
But again,
legit.
they were happening
so you're
a
right.
lot overseas.
You're right.
Because you had the Irish stuff going on, Libya, had all those things overseas.
Yeah.
But in the U.S., this is pre 9/11, so we don't have quite as much of the stress or the worry.
Yeah.
So maybe then they did think it was a crank call.
I don't know.
But I would think, again, someone has said, terrorists are taking over Nakatomi. I just think there's a little more thorough look than, it looks fine to me.
Yeah. Right.
Or Powell's really bad at his job.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
There it's B.
when he was in the lobby, well, I guess they're 30 floors up. So
Yeah.
But when he's in the lobby, that it's happening simultaneously when McLean's under the table.
Yeah.
And he's that. So
He doesn't hear anything. It's 30 floors up. Gunfire?
would-
There's a lot of gunfire on
Would
Yeah.
you have heard that? I mean, I don't know.
Nothing?
Would you have heard that 30 floors up? I think you would have heard
I
something.
think you would have heard something.
I'm just saying the terrorists have a really good cleaning person because they killed 2 guys in that lobby and there's not
They did.
a speck of blood left.
That is correct.
Oh,
I'm
that's
on
good.
that one
That's
real
a
quick.
good call.
No blood
That's a good call.
splatter.
No.
Nothing.
Because
Well,
that would have
it's-
been all over the wall.
No, he used a
behind him.
silencer.
That doesn't stop blood.
It's not a sprayer.
Yes.
That's a
Yeah.
silencer. Takes away the sound.
Well, they are
But yes,
professionals. So
they're professionals. You still can't professionally shoot someone and not get blood anywhere. Right?
Yeah.
Especially when you shoot
So-
them in the head.
In the
clean it
head. That's, I don't know if you know, but that's
From 3 feet
quite
away.
a bloody spot. Yeah,
Well-
and that would make, from as close as they were, that makes quite a hole.
Yeah.
All right. That's not just a little BB shot to the skull. All right.
Well,
He
The back of his head would
yeah,
not
he
have been there.
canoed that thing out. So,
Well, and he just wanted to be done. So he did his cursory
did.
walk, and he's like, I'm out.
but that's fine. Then we got to throw stuff off the building, and we'll get his attention. We'll make it a
Throw
little better.
stuff. You
Well-
mean people?
Yeah. Welcome to the
I
party,
said,
pal.
I said throw stuff, but yes, that's what I got. So, I saw that he said the signature Yipee Ki Yay was something he was just saying to make the crew laugh.
Yeah.
In between takes while they were funny, and someone was like, "You should use that," and he was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
So,
That's probably
kinda-
that's right. The most
said-
one of the most iconic.
he said when he said it in the film, he said he was pretty confident the directors would not let it stay on the cut. So he said he never thought it was going to be there, and then when he saw it in the movie, he was like, "Oh, they kept it." So,
You can actually see when he says it and he's going through the door into the stairwell or
Yeah.
whatever, he's almost laughing after he said it.
Yeah, it's good.
all right.
funny.
Well, before we jump into our categories, because I know how much you love those,
Mhm.
you guys got anything else?
I don't think so.
Uh,
Not
I
that
know that
won't
you
come
two
up.
do some extensive research. So
Rob needs to go through his 37 pages.
that's
Well,
fine.
my 37 pages, I only have 35.
All right.
It's
Well,
he didn't do a lot of research.
I've
this
given
time.
you an opportunity. You didn't take it. So let's head towards our categories, Rob.
Let's go.
Hey, here come our categories. Our recall movie categories.
That's pretty soothing.
That is.
It is really nice.
Kind of makes you feel
that,
good.
Yeah.
Put that down on wax.
Yes. Get a little glass of eggnog. Just relax. That's all you got to do.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, jumping in, Rob, we're going to let you lead off.
Oh,
So I know how much you
I
love to
don't
do
like
it.
that.
You do.
Category one.
Yeah.
We're all Robsters. We want to hear.
Yes. Everyone's a Robster today. Favorite quote / dialogue. Our first category. What do you got, Rob?
It's a really short
Oh, nice.
quote. I don't know why I like it. I find it very amusing when I hear it. Every
Perfect.
time I watched it, it sounds like an A7 scenario.
Oh.
I just find that the minute he said, there's that section where
There are a ton of lines in
oh,
this
that-
movie. And
I've
you
got
go with that.
five.
A7
I've got
scenario.
5 pages of
You
no.
go with a
But when
scenario.
Dwayne,
Dwayne.
he's given the two FBI, the two Johnsons.
Uh-huh.
He's given them the kind of here's where we're at,
Sergeant Powell, by the
and
way.
then Dwayne. Is it
Reginald-
Dwayne Powell? No,
Dwayne Powell.
No,
Dwayne.
that is first
Dwayne
name.
is the deputy chief.
Yeah.
Deputy
Yeah,
Chief.
yeah.
That's
Powell
he's
correct.
the he's
Powell
he-
hates.
yeah. So he's given the two Johnsons the
Yeah.
kind of where we're at, and Big Johnson says he just calmly says, "Sounds like an A7 scenario." I have Googled that. There's no
Means
such thing,
nothing.
and I want to
No
know.
such thing.
I want to know what,
What
an
an
A7
scenario is?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to have to
Oh,
continue
Robinson.
to wonder.
Dwayne T. Robinson.
Yes.
Dwayne T.
Yes.
Robinson. That's right.
Let's see. I had it later in my notes.
All right.
I don't know. I've got other ones, but yeah.
All right.
I'm sure I'll share
over,
some.
over to the Kurtster.
Ooh, the
There you go.
Kurtster. I don't
I don't
start
like that.
I
That's
don't
not
like
as
that.
good.
That's not as good as
That's
the
not as good as the
Robert.
Robsters.
You called him Curdo one time.
Kurdo. Yeah. Kurdo's another one. We give him
Oh.
several names on the show.
Wow.
So it's good.
Okay.
Anyway.
All right, Kurdo, take it away.
Thank you. All right. So I've got Rob kind of already hit on it a little bit. I like the attention, whoever you are. This channel is reserved for emergencies only.
Oh, yeah.
No fucking shit, lady. Do I sound like I'm ordering a pizza? It's just,
That is
Yeah.
good.
it's, I mean, you're on the how do you think someone got onto the emergency
I know.
thing?
That's what I'm saying.
And they're claiming an emergency.
Yeah.
So look into
They didn't
it.
just
Yeah.
call 911. They've made an effort to get around that
That's
into
right.
this situation.
Right.
So let's take that a little more serious than what we're doing. So,
Yeah.
well, neither of your quotes came from the man himself, John McClane,
Mhm.
or Hans Gruber, which is crazy because those were all the lines come from, but that's fine. I went with one from McClane, and I like this one. Always makes me laugh. So he gets done killing the first guy or something like that. He says 9 million terrorists in the world, and I had to kill one with feet smaller than my sister.
That was my number
Yeah.
2.
I love that one. It's
Yeah,
so
my
funny.
number 2 was also a John McClane one, but it's when him and Hans Gruber kind of, I think it's one of the first times they meet over the radio. And Hans Gruber says, "Who are you then?" And he says, "Just a fly in the ointment, Hans.
Yeah.
The monkey in the wrench, the pain in the ass."
I got to be honest, if you really watch it, as fans of Big Trouble in Little China, this character of John McClane's not that far off of Kurt Russell's character,
Yeah.
old Jack. What is it? Forget his last name
Yeah.
at this time, but
Yeah.
that character with kind of those one-liners, little snarky, little snappy.
Yeah.
McClane, I think, is a little tougher than him in Big Trouble in
Yeah.
Little China, but it's kind of that same delivery
Yeah.
of things. I kind of like when McClane talks. I like throughout it, he's talking to himself.
Yes.
So sometimes he's doing that. So I got the one, it's like, why the fuck didn't you stop him, John? Then you'd be dead too, asshole.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
I just like, he's talking to himself.
Yeah.
He's keeping it nice and calm. So
I do like the slow delivery when the elevator opens and Hans is reading
yeah.
the sweatshirt.
so great.
I think Rob even has it. Let's hear it.
Let's hear it.
the man
we've got
himself.
it
The man
from
himself.
the man himself.
Now I have a machine gun.
ho, ho.
Who says ho 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 like that? Oh,
Nobody.
It's an amazing delivery though.
That brought
Can't
all
do
the
anything
hoes.
about it.
Ho.
So my favorite Hans quote, if we're just going to divvy it up, my favorite Hans quote, you said part of it earlier, but I'm going to do the whole thing. When he comes back in from the Takagi situation, he says, I wanted this to be professional, efficient, adult, cooperative. Not a lot to ask. Alas, your Mr. Takagi did not see it that way, so he won't be joining us for the rest of his life. I just think he's so casual and cavalier with it, but it's funny the way the delivery comes. So that's it.
Talking about being cavalier at the end when the helicopter blows up as it's going down.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Dwayne T. Robinson says, "We're going to need some more FBI guys, I guess."
He did not care that they died at all.
Yeah.
He wasn't even upset about
Well, and
it.
then earlier too, when the guy got thrown out the window, and he goes, "What about the guy that got thrown out the window?" And he says, "Oh, it's probably just some investor guy that was like depressed or something."
Again, no
Like,
concern over people
no.
committing suicide. Doesn't matter. So
Even though that guy was full of bullet holes.
Yeah.
they're not good at investigating
No.
things.
Yeah.
So these kinds of things don't happen. And another good Hans one was when she says, "You're just a thief," and he goes, "I am an exceptional thief, Mrs. McLean. And since I'm moving up to kidnapping, you should be more polite."
Yeah.
So that was a good one.
I like Dwayne T. Robinson and John McClane. Some of the best dialogue I thought was
Between them.
once the authorities
Yeah.
showed up on scene, and now they're communicating from the ground up to him, and he gets on the radio and goes, "You listen to me, you little asshole." And John McClane says, "Asshole? I'm not the one who just got butt fucked on national TV, Dwayne." The way he
that's
says
good.
Dwayne.
Or, yeah, he has that other one. He goes, "From up here, it doesn't look like you're in charge of jack shit."
He
So-
goes, give it back to the other guy.
I really like when Carl's just throwing one of his 12 fits in the movie, and he's just throwing things around an office, and she goes, "Only John can make someone that crazy." By the way,
want blood.
Carl's not the best. He's the lead terrorist. Not a good lead terrorist. I mean, I know the brother died, but when you go into that business, there's some expectation that those guys could die. It really just throws him off his whole game. Like, Hans is like, "Come on, man, we got to focus on what we're trying to do here." No, Hans just wants
Stay to the
blood.
plan, yeah.
I just want blood.
Well, and I read somewhere when you look at the character names, some of those character names are they're listed as Carl's bodyguards. So so he's got his own kind of
His own
entourage
Maybe it's his
within the
crew
entourage.
that's just
Yeah.
They talk about him.
Well, you have his crew, and then they freelance because Huey Lewis they probably picked up in L.A.
Yeah.
Although he looks like he's from like Oklahoma or something like that. And then Theo
Maybe
he had to pick
Ohio.
up. Okay, Ohio. We'll say that. So, but I do like, you can't forget about my favorite side character, Ellis. That one where he says, "Hans, booby, baby, I'm your
baby."
white knight."
Yeah.
He goes, "Can they bring me some Coke? Can I get a Coke? Can I get some Coke?" And they bring him a Coca-Cola, and he goes,
Sprechen Sie talk, or whatever he says. Yeah.
he's the worst. I feel bad that he got shot, but
You do?
yeah, I like Ellis a little bit.
Oh,
you know?
he had to go.
He's making the deals. Ellis makes things happen. Ellis is a perfect 80s yuppie
Oh yeah.
jackass.
Well,
He's
and
great.
I think he's got a little bit of chip on his shoulder because she outworked him, and so she's taking his corner office.
He's got a great beard
you
too.
know,
Long
so.
before beards were cool, he had
But
the
Ellis
good
does
beard.
have the bathroom.
the
He
private
does have the
bathroom.
private
That's
bathroom.
right. She's working for it. She's
He
gunning
doesn't
for
have
him.
everything.
She's gunning for him.
All right, you got any other quotes?
Oh, there's
Any
lots.
other good ones?
No,
I mean,
there's
yeah, you
lots.
could go on.
we could keep going.
We could do it the whole time.
Yeah, no, there's lots. I don't have any more.
Well, then we'll jump to category 2 because
Yeah.
if we let him think too long, he'll come up with a couple more.
Yeah.
We'll let Kurt kick this one off. It's our favorite main character.
All right. I should have some agreement on this one,
You
but I
should.
went with Hans.
You went with Hans.
Why
I
Good.
went with Hans. First film came out of the gate just kicking when on his career there on film. But let's see here. I also put down that Alan Rickman's actually one of my favorite actors
Nice.
of all time.
Yeah, he's good.
Galaxy Quest,
Good.
hilarious.
Love Actually.
Yeah.
Quigley Down Under.
Quickly Down Under.
Harry-
I had Love Actually.
Harry
Robin
Potter.
Hood.
Robin Hood.
Yeah.
I mean,
Robin Hood, he's the whole movie.
Yeah.
he is the whole movie. And
He's that
keep
whole
the
movie.
stitches
It's
small.
small. Why a spoon?
Because you twit, it's dull. It'll hurt more.
then the
of
whole-
course,
the
Professor
whole-
Snape,
yeah,
all the
yeah.
Harry Potter.
Snape.
But yeah, everything he was in. great.
There
Was
is
good.
there's that at SNL they'll do those Christmas sketches, and they were doing like a compilation CD, but then it's like stars singing Christmas tunes, and they had Jimmy Fallon as Snape, and he's like, "Holly jolly Christmas." He said it's the best time of the year.
They should just throw in the ho.
Oh,
Yeah. They and I read that he, because of this movie, he kind of got typecast the rest of his career. He had
Yeah,
to
a little
fight
bit.
that,
Yeah.
being the European.
No, he was good. Bad guy.
Bad guy.
There
Yeah.
you go.
So
All right. Well, then what do you got, Rob?
I went with the obvious. I went with John McClane.
Oh, you went McClane. So you had Hans. You had McClane.
Yeah.
All right. Why do you think McClane's the best character?
Because I think he set the he created the template for action movies after this.
Yeah.
You know, I think this movie and John's character kind of created that because at the time I think a lot of these action movies were
Arnold.
were the big time guys, and there was almost this element, kind of a fanciful element
Well,
of
yeah.
they could like dodge bullets and blow, you know.
Well,
And-
no, when you look at Arnold, you look at Stallone, you look at Jean-Claude Van Damme, these aren't normal
Yeah.
people. They're really big. They know martial arts that normal people don't know.
Mhm.
McClane's just a dude.
Yeah.
And he, if you think about it, you're right, because he inspires. Look at The Rock.
Yeah.
Would Nick Cage have ever been the action
No.
star of that movie if Bruce
Yeah.
Willis isn't McClane
Well-
in Die Hard?
Well, and then it talked about it created almost a subgenre of movies, and it talked about like speed. So it was described as Die Hard on a bus.
That's good. I like
Under
that.
Siege was Die Hard on a
On a
battleship.
battleship.
Unstoppable was Die Hard on a train. Air Force One was Die Hard
on a plane.
with a president on Air Force One.
It is. There
You know,
are.
and that idea of you get this guy stuck in a situation and he's got to work his way out of it and work his way. This started with this movie. It created its own subgenre, and I think he's a different character. Now we look at it and we go, oh, that's kind of what we all, you know. But
at the time,
he was barefoot.
Yep.
He had just one gun. He was a normal guy. He wasn't muscular like all the other guys.
I think he had a lot more personality than some other action stars before him.
First of
well,
all,
and he was a dick.
Stallone and Arnold
you know,
have all the personality. All right. They
But
could have done this.
You do the
easily.
job.
but
I love get to the
you know, but
job.
he's got
To the
a
job.
crappy marriage. He's he talks to himself like you said.
I know,
He
I
puts
like it.
himself down. He smokes. He's got all kind of the vices. And
Could you imagine Sylvester Stallone in this? I just can't get past him being like, "Yippee Ki Yay,
Well,
motherfucker."
and I found this quote. It said the very real on-screen pain of pulling the glass out of his feet. This quote said, "This very real on-screen pain was a refreshing change of pace for audiences who in the very same year saw John Rambo cauterize a painless gunshot wound in his shoulder by pouring gunpowder on it and setting it on fire, all while barely flinching."
Oh,
Yeah, that's good.
You shouldn't flinch.
Yeah, you shouldn't flinch.
You're a real man. You don't flinch.
I got a little shot here. I'm gonna go burn it off.
It's just a scratch. I'll just pour a little
Pour a little gunpowder on there. It'll be fine.
Oh God!
All right. Well, you have
and Bruce Willis. It says he's on record as saying this is his favorite role.
Yeah,
So,
well,
or favorite character.
If I can go through his character arc after this of movies, I mean, this is probably the apex of that.
Yeah.
Because after this, look who's talking, and then if you start thinking of his other movies that
Sixth
aren't
Sense
Die
is
Hard,
about the only thing.
Sixth Sense,
Yeah.
but that's more of a different kind of movie. So, well, you had Hans, you had John.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do something for the first time in Recall movie history analysis. I had a tie between Hans and John because I
Is that
couldn't
even in the
decide.
rules?
No, he
First
makes
of
up
all,
his
I
own
make
rules.
the
That's right.
rules.
He is the creative
Doesn't matter.
arm of this.
That's
right.
why it says this is the first time for the Recall movie analysis that I have a tie
All
because they're both equally awesome
I don't
in
like
this
your
movie.
anal cis.
So yeah.
You don't like what?
His anal cis.
Well, my anal cis
You gotta
stands.
choose.
It sticks. So no matter what I say, that's what's happening. So,
His anal
So-
cis is sticky.
but I have a tie for all the reasons that you two said
Yeah.
that I have the tie. I couldn't decide between because if you don't have both of them,
Yeah.
the movie's not going to make any sense. If anybody else is playing those parts,
Yeah.
it's not Die Hard, it's Die Soft.
That's
Oh.
right.
There
It's
you go.
diflaccid.
Die Flaccid.
Oh.
The Robster's
All right.
diflaccid.
Well, we've done category 1, category 2. What's category 3, Rob?
It is favorite scene or event.
All right. You want to start that off?
Sure.
Okay.
This is a good segue.
Oh, nice.
My favorite scene or event is on the rooftop between when McClane and Gruber meet for the first time in person.
Nice.
When he does the whole fake accent.
Bill Clay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill
The-
Clay.
So I got this quote. It says, "In the history of cinema, the meeting between antagonist and protagonist has long become one of the most built upon tropes, but one that audiences now demand especially if there is a substantial emotional investment leading to it. The meeting between Hans Gruber and John McClane is one of the best ever filmed, one that set new standards for the cliche, stripping away the choreographed fights and empty one-liners for a more nuanced and challenged interaction that gives their final encounter much more weight. I think this scene also kind of set for movies following action movies the whole relationship between the protagonist and the antagonist. And
That's good.
we watch movies now, and we go, oh, that's normal for the protagonist and antagonist to have this really kind of heady conversation about and this was started with this movie.
That was very thorough, Rob. Thank you on
no
that.
problem.
So,
Yeah.
I have.
You're such a jerk. You're like,
You're such a jerk. Now let's hear what you've
yes,
got.
that was
from your
very
brain.
thorough. Yes, all
It was
right.
very thorough.
You felt like,
Anyways.
like in third grade, when your teacher goes, "Oh, you did your assignment.
You did a good
Okay,
job.
Wow,
You really
okay.
wrote 2 pages.
No.
That brings me back to Billy Madison. That was a
That
long
was a
winded,
long
and we are all dumber now from listening to it.
God have mercy on your soul."
All right.
That's right.
Rob's right. He goes, if I just write big words like protagonist, antagonist, they'll be like, wow, that's really well thought out. Thanks, Rob.
No,
I
just
thought
thought that
You know
scene to me is
That-
the apex of the movie.
That description, that thorough research he does, that's what makes you a Robster right there.
That's right.
That's it. That's the one. So,
all right.
well,
There you
mine's
go.
the elevator scene with the dead terrorist. I love this
Yeah.
scene. The ho 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 shirt is great.
Yes.
Hans, I love it because Hans realizes immediately he may have a problem that he wasn't expecting, and he likes to be everything planned and perfect. To me, it sets the whole movie up. John being that fly in the ointment in one shot, in one spot. You go, this is not going to go the way I thought it was going to go. So,
Well, and I like his response when the guy goes, "Oh, is it a maintenance worker we forgot about?" And he goes, "Oh no, this is something more."
Exactly.
Like
He
so
knows.
he knows that this is
to take the time and drawing blood, the ho ho ho, and I have a machine gun. That's not some random dude
Well,
up
and
on a floor.
And even Gruber like goes so far as to mention like the guy's pension. He goes, he goes, "No, this guy would never put his pension at risk for this. So this is something more."
This is something else. I like it in one shot. You're like, ooh, this is going to be a problem.
That's right.
So, and then of course, I just love Carl throwing chairs.
Like, he's so mad. I want blood. Yeah, I want blood.
Nobody
just
kills him but me.
Yes.
Cannot be calmed down. And the rest of the movie, Carl cannot be like consoled at all.
That's right.
And he poses a question to Gruber because Gruber grabs him and he says, you stick to the plan, and then once we do that, then you can
do
basically wipe his blood with this place. But he goes, and then Carl goes, but what if he ruins the plan?
This is the plan.
Gruber never answers him back.
No, because
So I was like,
he
oh.
doesn't think
He
about
doesn't
that.
have a B.
He doesn't have a plan. Yeah, so it makes me wonder. Oh, they were not prepared for McLean.
Carl's smarter than you think he is.
right.
Well, they think it's just a bunch of stiffs in an office.
Well, because I think Carl was his own.
One bodyguard.
He was his own
Yeah.
entity, and he partnered with, So there
some
was some.
good visual arm movements today.
Yes,
I really
I
like
like
that.
that.
It's like you were, doing symbols together or something. So, what do you got, Kurt?
All right. I actually broke this up into 2.
Oh,
also
I'm
breaking
what
the
is going
rules.
on
making up
today?
my own.
Wow.
But here's why I did
He's
it.
getting
As
comfortable.
a kid, I went kid and adult.
Oh, okay.
So as a
Oh.
kid,
Look, that's
I was-
something you would do right
I
there,
was the
Rob.
big fight scene guy. So
Yeah.
the John Carl fight at the end.
okay.
Great.
I love that one. Now it's just the back and forth over the radio between
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hans
those
and
are really
good.
John.
Yeah.
It's a
That's
good
really good.
like 5-10 minutes of
Yeah, it's great.
great dialogue back and forth.
It is.
That is something I think this movie. One thing I was surprised about is how many, websites talked about the screenwriting for this movie, and that a lot of people consider it a masterpiece
Mhm.
because of the writing and the dialogue and the pace of the movie. And
Oh, yeah.
so yeah,
It's good.
Like for screenwriter people, they study it and just
Nice.
how the dialogue and stuff. It's really good writing.
It is
You know.
good writing.
And I think people kind of poo-poo it as being an action film, and so they're like, but
You know,
good
that's
writing,
the second
so.
time today you've said poo-poo.
Poo-poo?
Is that a new?
pee-pee.
Is that something you're trying out now? Is that
No,
a new
just-
term?
He's just
Poo-poo.
trying it out with his
Trying it out.
analyst.
I see a new show for you, the Poo Poo Pod.
Poo-poo pod.
Can talk to people about making sure
Robster's
they
poo-poo pod.
eat enough fruit,
Enough fruit.
Drink enough water.
That's right.
drink that.
Did you have too much dairy?
Drink
We
that
could-
kombucha so they can cleanse out
we
their
could-
system.
Talk about the different shapes and
All right,
Yeah.
Kurt.
Okay.
That's
All
enough
right, Kurt.
poo-poo talk. What is category 4? And go ahead and lead us off with it.
Alrighty. So category 4 is our favorite terrorist.
Ooh.
Ooh.
So I went with your best friend Carl.
Ooh, you went with Carl.
I went with Carl.
All right.
I just love when he goes, "No one kills him but me,"
That's right.
because can't. He just wants him to be able to kill him. You're
Another
just shivering
shiver.
again.
It's cold in here.
Did you get the shivers?
He did.
Wow.
I just out of the
Just
corner
out
of
of
my
the corner, I
eye,
saw a little shimmy,
I thought he was having a
shake.
seizure.
It's the lights on the wall over there. It's causing me problems.
Oh my goodness! All right.
Wow.
Well, I went with Carl.
I'm
I
chilly.
I thought real life. The
Yeah.
guy that played Carl, good backstory.
Yep.
He was basically the ballet.
He was like in the
Head
Russian
ballet
ballet.
in the-
Baryshnikov.
Yes,
Yeah.
Nice.
in the Bolshoi ballet.
The
He was the
Bolshoi.
premier danseur.
Nice.
And
Oh.
I like
And
your
then
Maybe
accent.
that's what it is when a person does puzzles. It's a puzzler.
Dansueur.
A puzzler?
No, it is a potolier.
Oh, there you go. Wow.
Correct. But I found his background a little interesting. When he was with the ballet and he came over to the U.S., he basically applied for asylum and stayed
Oh.
here. His wife, it was a big thing. They've actually made a movie about it.
Oh, wow.
How his wife never actually came over. She said, "I'm too Russian to live in America."
Oh, nice.
And then magically they got divorced
Of course.
2 years later. But
Oh, okay.
Carl, huh?
Wow.
I loved Carl. He was the always out of control because the brother died.
Yeah. And the
Brother,
good hair.
by the way, why is brother wearing the gray sweatpants? Everyone else is
Look-
in like suits and stuff. He's
Oh,
wearing
yeah.
gray sweatpants.
Yeah.
There may have been a role for him we never got to see that he needs to be a little more flexible,
His
have a
name
little more freedom.
Well, he
I-
just went and did
I
the
know.
clipping of the wires.
his name is Tony.
he was a big dude,
He had
by
a-
the way.
he
When
was.
he stood next to McClane, he was quite a bit taller and like broader
Yeah.
than Bruce
Maybe
Willis
he couldn't
was.
find slack, so they just
I
said,
got-
"Here's some
Yeah,
sweats."
here's some sweats. I like the sweats. I don't know.
But he had small feet,
look, if
He
I'm
did.
gonna,
He had tiny
which
feet.
is weird.
yeah, if I'm
Smaller
gonna
than
take
his-
over,
He seems like he would have had bigger feet
you
than,
think so.
than
But if I'm
John
going to take
McClane.
over a terrorist, I'm going to take over this tower as a terrorist. I'm going to go comfortable. Let's get some Lululemon pants on and let's get over there and let's take care of this situation.
It's something that's going to bend and breathe.
Some stretch
There's
pants.
going to be a lot of like moving people around and stuff. I'm not trying to wear a suit over here. It makes no sense. So,
Something with a pocket for my gun.
well, my favorite
some
terrorist,
Crocs, maybe possibly
Yeah.
some Crocs. Or
my
no, but
favorite
there's a lot of action. You
terrorist,
kick them off.
you're on the Crocs again.
Yeah,
You like Crocs.
I don't really
you
like
currently
Crocs.
have them on your feet, don't you?
I have the knockoff
Oh, okay.
Walmart,
I gotcha.
style Crocs. Yeah, but anyway.
Well, my favorite terrorist, originally, I really considered Theo. So he's our
Theo.
computer hacker.
Oh boy,
But anyone who gets knocked out by Argyle in one punch,
That was a terrible punch.
I
by the way.
cannot. I cannot allow you to be the best terrorist at that point. So let's not get creative here.
Yeah.
It's Hans Gruber. He's the best terrorist. He has the best. He goes out the best.
Yeah.
Everything he does is better than everyone else. I like Carl. I don't like Carl.
Well-
I'm not going to lie to you. Carl's not my favorite.
I
But,
went with Carl just because Hans I had
I
already
gotcha.
picked.
You had Hans up. Hans is still the best terrorist. What do you got, Rob?
I went with Hans.
Oh, okay. See,
I
we're
did.
in agreement.
Guys
Yep.
are doubling up
Yep.
on me here.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, and
Usually I'd like
I found some quotes that said these are just some quotes from different places around the old interweb.
Yes.
He is the movie villain we wish every movie had. He's the undisputed champ of action movie villains. He's the template that should serve as a guide for creating strong genre villains. And then it said, Hans Gruber is the reason why this story exists. And actually the writers have acknowledged that they actually wrote this movie kind of from the perspective of him being the protagonist. Like they
Wow.
wrote it around him. So they said the movie wouldn't exist. All the other characters exist as reactions or reactors to his actions.
Yeah.
The writer said he wrote Die Hard as though Gruber were the protagonist. He was the active presence who forces the plot and the motion into motion. He's the catalyst that puts the world of the movie out of balance. Gruber is the catalyst for John McClane's evolution as a character. If it were not for Gruber and his scheme, John McClane would never have grown up. He would not have gone to Nakatomi Plaza, made no compromises, and he and Holly would have probably gotten divorced.
there you go.
But it's really about Hans Gruber. This movie is about Hans Gruber.
It's
But-
some of it's about John McClane, whether
A
you
little
like
bit.
it or not.
I think it's Hans' movie.
About to
This
bring
is
him together.
this
of
is
a
why I
family
called
at
him the
end.
president of the Hans Gruber fan club here.
Yeah.
So we got that. So all right, well, yeah, Hans is it. So
Yeah.
Carl number 2. That's why Carl's
He
also
was
the
my number
2.
2, but since I had already chose Hans,
All
No.
right. Well, our category 5 is the best location of the movie. I went with the lobby area or that open area at Nakatomi where they're having the party, I put it looks awesome. Girls and guys are very promiscuous.
Promiscuous.
There's drugs, alcohol, pregnant ladies drinking. I assume great food, maybe some sushi. We're in LA. Takagi, got a whole thing there.
Yeah.
This looks like every 80s party in every awesome 80s movie you would want to have attended.
Mhm.
You know, I want to be there. When you're younger, you're like, I want to be at that party. Now that I'm older, I see a lot of red flags. I see a lot of problems going on. All right.
Yeah.
But as a youngster, young teenager, I'm like, this is it right here. We can have sex at work. That's great. I can't wait to get older.
One day when
day when I'm older, I want to be like Ellis.
Yeah.
So
yours is the
lobby where they're having the party in the
Party,
Nakatomi
okay.
Tower.
All right. I'm going to piggyback on
Go
that.
for
Okay.
We have the same one.
Oh, wow.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
And more specifically, the 30th floor.
Ooh.
Is
They are-
that where the party is?
Yes.
Okay.
And here's why I picked the 30th floor. It's where the office party was being held. It's where Holly Gennaro and Harry Ellis have their office.
Holly McLean.
Gennaro. Hans Gruber and his band of terrorists took everyone hostage and held them there, 30th floor. That's where the vault is at in the upper part of the 30th floor. Hans used Holly's office as his private room, 30th floor. When Tony is killed, his brother Carl screams in rage and tosses out. That's 30th floor. Ellis sold McLean's identity to Hans and Carl, 30th floor. Ellis is executed, 30th floor. When he does with the hose,
Yeah.
30th floor. That's where he lands back on 30th floor.
By the way, real quick, when you said her office was his, what were the chances of that, by the way? Because that's how he finds the picture of McLean, so he
Yeah.
figures the whole thing out, right? But what were the chances? Takagi probably had a really nice office. Like, and I bet Ellis had he had the private bathroom.
Yeah,
or-
Takagi was on the
Why wouldn't-
34th floor.
Okay.
Yeah.
But why wouldn't you take one of the nicer offices?
Yeah.
And Hans feels like he wouldn't want to be around the the
hostages. Yeah.
Like, I don't need to deal. I'll leave you guys
Yeah.
here and be in my own spot.
Yeah, I
kinda
agree.
thing.
And I think Takagi's
So-
office was probably nicer, but
Yeah,
he
so
got
it's
it all
just-
messed up when he
it's
shot him. He
very-
got the blood everywhere.
It's really perfect that he took that office, and this is my location.
And then when the helicopter falls and explodes, it explodes into the 30th floor.
Wow.
This is where they have the gun taped to the back scene.
30th
floor. Happy Trails, Hans.
This is like that.
Floor.
This is like that.
So where most of the people are is where most of the movie
And
happened.
Hans,
I got it.
Hans falls from
the 30th floor. This is
There
like
you go.
that Jim Carrey movie. What 23? Did you add this up? It's 23.
Yep.
This happened.
right.
The Kennedy assassination. 23.
That's right.
That's Rob right now.
Now-
With 30th floor.
Now I'm thinking he put a lot more research into
Yes.
my location.
Where's your location?
The AM/PM gas
Oh,
station.
I love it.
It's
there.
got snacks.
Oh.
snacks, sodas.
It's got gas for 77 cents a gallon.
I love
That's
that.
funny. I was going to put that later in the category. It says like
74 if you get leaded.
least believable
Least
event. I
believable.
told my wife, I said, I'm going to put down the fact that gas is 7. And she goes, that's not. You shouldn't put
I
that.
was watching it last night and I just randomly said it. My wife goes, "Oh, you have to use that."
By the way,
74
do you
cents a
think-
gallon. I put
Do
her in
you
my
think
notes.
Mrs. McCracken will enjoy her impersonation that Rob just threw onto the
Yes.
podcast?
She's gonna
You
love it.
cannot do 70.
I think she's going to love yours as well. I am going to stay out of it so I can still be friends with her.
I'm doing the impersonation Rob handed to me, so it's not my fault. All
okay.
right. And he lives with her. He knows how she sounds, so I'll give it to him.
Wow,
Mrs.
I-
McCracken, you're wonderful.
I love
might
the
have-
AM/PM.
I might have dramatized
When
it a
I used to
little
go to the AM/PM when we was youngsters, they would
It's the
have like
AMP. If it's not under A, it's under
two,
P.
yeah, it was like 2 hot dogs for $1. It was amazing.
Yep.
It was awesome. Those
Yeah, so-
they're rolling on the
Yeah.
thing.
So those have to be quality. Quality dogs.
When I was 11 or 12, I thought it was great. I eat at 7-Eleven all the time. Those little things spinning. What's inside of that? Pepperoni and cheese? Yeah, put that in my. That goes right in the cake hole.
and it's been rolling there for weeks. You know.
No,
I don't
no.
care.
Too many people are like us that eat it.
And then
So
go
they
grab
gotta
one of
replace
those.
it.
Grab one of the 44 or 64 ounce super or double big gulps.
Yes.
Nobody's life was ever bad having that much soda.
I
at
bring
one
in my
time.
own trucker thing that's like the 74 ouncer.
Big gulps, eh?
Big gulps.
Well, see you later.
All right. Well, that takes us to category 6, worst actor / character. Kurt, go ahead.
All right. I went worst character.
Okay.
Just because I don't like him. Richard Thornburg.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one.
I put here.
He's a jerk.
I'm pretty sure Thornburg orgasmed when the cameraman got the explosion because his
Did you
eyes
get that?
got that.
Did you get that?
Tell me you got that, and his eyes lit up when he said
Yeah.
yes. I'm pretty sure
He
there was
so
some
deserved
things.
getting punched in the face. For
I wanna-
doing
Then he went to the house,
house.
and he
Okay.
threatened
To call-
immigration.
to call immigration.
That's my yeah.
That's your
So
what?
I was.
That would be my reason. I didn't pick him, but that
Oh,
right
yeah.
there was the reason I thought, man, he would have been.
Do
one
you
of my
think
choices.
that guy? I saw an interview with him once, but imagine being him. So in the '80s, he was Walter Peck in Ghostbusters,
Yeah.
biggest jerk ever.
Yeah.
He's in this as a big jerk.
Yeah,
He was in Real Genius as a big jerk.
Yeah,
He said one time, he said he walks down the street, people still yell at him.
yeah. I
Because
could see
like
that.
he made his life being he just has the face now. It's like he's just a jerk.
Got
like,
a face that you just
but
want to punch.
he,
Yeah.
but
And
he,
Holly punches him.
he does a great. He deserved that.
She punches better than
100%.
Argyle, by the way.
Yeah, Argyle's look. It's his first day.
Well,
As I was watching Argyle's punch yesterday, I don't know if he actually hit him at all.
He hit him. Theo folded like a chair.
and
I mean,
and the sound Theo makes when he got hit was I don't know. It was like "Ah." It was kind of,
oh,
anyway. No, I'm going to admit something that
Okay.
I don't know that I like Die Hard. I do.
I love it.
A standalone 1988
Yeah.
action film. I couldn't get into the rest of the series. I
Yeah.
couldn't do it.
I like the
but
second one a little bit.
The second one, we learned that
And then it
Thornburg had
starts-
taken out a restraining
Restraining
order
order.
against Holly. Yeah,
but
so
I like the second one. It's a little more unbelievable, but it's just a fun.
that's a whole
after that, it
conversation
started
online. Is
going-
people really getting into like they get heated about
Yeah.
which ones are kind of the, and then there's
Yeah.
one in there that everybody's like it's awful.
To me, the first one's the best one. I watched Die Hard with a Vengeance, and then after that, I kind of lose my attention of
Yeah.
it. But Die Hard 2 is not bad. So,
Yeah.
well, my worst character is Carl.
Wow.
I just don't like Carl. And here's why I don't like Carl.
Yeah, I want to know why he does.
He's not professional.
Why
Okay?
isn't he a professional?
Once his brother's dead, his bloodlust
He's
takes
wearing
over.
nice shoes. He's
Hold
got
on.
sensible shoes.
Hold on,
He's got-
but listen to what I'm saying.
he dresses better for that
He's-
than I
yeah.
dress for work.
His brother dies, and once his brother dies, bloodlust takes over. So again, not professional.
Yeah.
And it somewhat costs their ability to complete the mission the right way because Carl's so hyper focused on going after McClane to kill him. He's not doing a good job organizing the other terrorists.
He didn't stay to the plan
All right.
like Gruber told
Yeah,
him to.
he's not doing it at all. He's
a good
he's
point.
getting very sidetracked. His emotions are taking over too much.
Yeah.
He's even when Hans Gruber tells him, "Nope, get back here so we can do X." He turns the radio off, and they keep
That's
going and causes more problems. So actually, as a professional terrorist, he should be fired. All right,
Oh,
he's
okay.
not doing a good job.
Well, consider him. Al Powell fired him. So
Yeah.
with his gun, he
he
fires.
does.
That's
So,
right.
my backup though was either the reporter, like you said,
Thornburg.
Thornburg.
and then my other backup was. Well, I'll let you go.
I was going to say, yeah. let
Before
Rob go.
I give my
'Cause
other
I have
backup.
another. I have a backup
Yeah.
one too. That I
Well, I'm going to read something that this isn't my pick, but it said Roger Ebert
Ooh,
was one of the few critics that gave this film a negative review.
no. Well,
He said the main.
Raj is tough.
I know.
I give him a negative.
He
review.
said the main reason he did this was because he hated the character Chief Dwayne Robinson.
Oh yeah.
He said the character was unnecessary, useless, dumb, and he prevented the movie from working.
No, okay.
He did like the sequels and later changed his opinion. But
Yes.
my character is Ellis.
Ooh, well, no.
Yeah.
Ellis is great.
Ellis is a coke snorting maniac who hilariously thinks he's a lot smarter than he actually is.
I like it.
McClane gets furious at Ellis because he thinks he can defuse the situation with the terrorists, but he just makes it worse.
He negotiates for a living. This is what I do,
That's right.
Bubby.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
come on.
I use a pen. You use a machine gun.
It's the
Yeah.
same thing.
It's the same thing.
We're doing the same thing
That's right.
here.
Speaking about characters, this is a bad place to put this. I'm
Oh,
going to do it
okay.
anyway.
Yeah, perfect.
Reginald Vell Johnson said that after his appearance on the first two Die Hard films, he would be frequently teased and joked at by friends and people on the street for his character's obsession of Twinkies, with some people even going so far as to buy Twinkies and throwing them into his car while he was
Nice.
inside and saying things like, "Oh, we knew you wanted some of
Twinkies."
those."
Well,
And
free
you know what's-
Twinkie.
you know what I would
wouldn't-
say?
I wouldn't say no.
I would say, how dare you? I was exactly wanting Twinkies.
That's
Thank
right.
you so much.
Could you please next time throw in a cupcake too?
But my
Yeah.
backup
Who's
was
your backup?
my backup was Robinson.
So was mine.
Oh,
He's another 80s like professional
Dick.
jackass.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's what he did.
I just put he was very bad at his job.
he was.
because everybody else was telling him the right
Yeah.
thing, and he just
By the way, he is the
Powell was like,
deputy-
"They're shooting the lights out," and then later
Yeah.
he goes, "Oh shit, they're shooting the lights out."
but he's the deputy police chief
Yeah.
for Los Angeles Police Department. He is the number 2 man in charge.
And the number one
of the-
never
one of the
shows
biggest,
up.
Yeah, well, he's sleeping.
He never
It's a
shows
crank call. I don't need to show up.
That's right.
And the head of FBI never shows up. They
You
send
don't
2
need to.
field
Well, they got the
officers
2
out.
Johnsons.
The 2 Johnson.
2 Johnsons is all you need.
It's like,
Well,
nah,
not
baby.
anymore because we need more.
It's like
We need more FBI
Saigon.
guys.
Just like Saigon.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Rob, what is our category 7
Worst scene or not needed.
scene? Yeah. What
Not
do you-
needed scene. Gosh, I struggled because I
tough.
I didn't have a lot of bad scenes, quite honestly.
okay.
I did find one.
That
and
can
this
be
is-
your answer, by the way. You don't have to force it.
No, I'm going to pick
He likes
one.
to force it.
And I
know.
kind of have an answer to it, but it says in the conference room shootout, right after they've met for the first time, and they shoot the glass out. Hans Gruber tells Carl to "Scheißen den Fenster,"
Yes.
and then Carl kind of looks at him like,
Why?
"What?" Okay, but I initially read that. I initially took his response as like, "What are you saying? I don't understand you." And so then I was like, why wouldn't he have understood? Because then Gruber
German.
stops and then he says it in English, shoot out the glass.
I gotcha.
So then I was like, all of a sudden he forgot how to speak
German. Yeah.
I don't know. But then I read more about it and people were like, no, he was probably like questioning why shoot the glass? Why not
okay.
shoot John?
Yeah,
you
I
know.
gotcha.
Anyway, so I don't know. Just some of the language issues with the Harris.
I gotcha.
But I had a hard time picking a bad scene.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Do you have one?
I
can
have
be
one.
the answer, but
I
yeah.
have. It's just the part where they're clearing out the offices and they're
Okay.
pulling out the people that are having sex.
Yeah.
They only put that in there because they needed a scene with a nice pair of
nice pair of LA
boobs.
boobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what.
Because
puts
I didn't think
butts
there
in
was
the
any other
seats.
reason to
You gotta
have
put
that mini little sex part in there.
You got to put butts in the seats.
I guess.
Got to get the 12-year-olds. That's what we live for.
That's why your VHS stopped working at that point.
Yeah, that was
so
probably the part that was all worn out.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna
Was
do?
it? Yeah,
What are you going to do?
we'll just agree to disagree.
Oh,
It's the part where he jumps off the building. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so
And
explodes. I was with you, Rob. Tough, love it all. It's
Yeah,
hard.
I
I
like
would
this
say mine are the cutbacks to Argyle probably don't do anything really for the story. You give him a couple times to, the thing about, I'm supposed to be in Vegas for that. That has nothing to do with the plot. I mean, he keeps yelling, come on, Argyle, tell me you heard that, asshole. All these things like that. But the reality is those couple cutback scenes to him, if you just cut back to Argyle and he punches out Theo, that helps the story for that part. But some of the other parts is just, I guess, to get Argyle some screen time.
I actually read that Argyle had a bigger scene. Like he had a bigger part. That's why that scene that you talk about, where you say, I hope you heard that.
Yeah.
Because there's actually some cutted.
Cutted.
The Robsters cut it
That's
out.
a Robster.
There's
that's
some
a Robster
there's
term.
some cut footage
Perfect.
where Argyle actually goes into the building.
Okay.
And so that's why that scene where he says, I hope you heard that, because there's no way he heard that down
But
in the
here's where I'm
basement,
at.
but maybe he did.
Here's where I'm at. I don't need more Argyle. His part was fine for what he did. I don't see him as the action hero. He's not
No.
saving the day.
Less is more with Argyle.
Come on, Argyle.
Okay.
Oh, whoops, no bullets.
All right.
All right. So we all had our
Worst character.
or
worst
not
character.
needed.
Yes.
Yep. We're good.
And you that
Category
takes
8.
category 8, least believable event.
Yeah.
I'll lead this one off.
Yep.
It's all believable.
Is all good? It's all believable. Yeah,
It's all-
everything's believable.
everything
You can pick
completely up
about
and up.
20 things,
Yeah.
but my biggest pick at the story is Carl coming back at the end. He
Yeah.
was literally strangled with a chain hanging
My
from
wife.
the floor.
My wife wondered the same.
How did he get down from that chain? Did he pull the chain apart? Like he's not getting out of
Used
that.
his dancing skills
I
to
don't
get
care
out of
what
it.
they're saying. Carl is not getting off that chain. That thing was completely smothered around his neck. Did he pull it off? He's not strong enough for that. Plus, he's already unconscious. He would have died. That's not hard to figure out. And then he comes walking out of the building. He should be dead. You wouldn't have any strength left at that point. I don't know. That part, I think they went too far. Honestly, it's
Too far.
one of the only complaints I have is, well, when they had the showdown, they had the long fight. You choke him with the chain, and he's done. The extra, so Reginald can. It's so Sergeant Powell can do one last save.
So he can get
Thing.
over his shooting thing that he did with
That
We Shot a
just
Kid.
establishes that the true love story in this is not Holly and McLean. It's Powell and
Yep.
McLean. They've started a lifelong buddy thing that will happen. They'll be
Hetero
on
life mates.
hetero life mates. They'll be on a couple rocking chairs.
That's right.
Remember that time in Nakatomi?
Nakatomi? When I threw that body on your car?
That was funny.
Hey, pal,
That was funny.
pass me one of those
Well,
twinkies over there.
And one could make the argument that I don't know that McLean beats him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He did beat him. Yeah.
He did.
But he did beat him.
He did
But I don't
beat
know
him.
that he's
There's
got-
no, I don't know. I watched it happen. Yeah, I just now that we've established that scene of them two in rocking chairs would be great. Sergeant Powell looks at McLean and goes, John, I saw Hans Gruber. He wasn't a very big guy. I'm not that impressed.
You're not that impressed.
Wow.
So, what do you got, Rob?
I went, I don't know.
I don't know.
A lot.
I don't know.
There was a lot. I don't know. I went with, okay, this is a phrase. It's not mine, or this is a quote. I'm stealing it. It said, the police attempted to storm the building despite the fact that the hostages were in the penthouse office suites 30 floors up.
Yes.
Borrowing a line from the Godfather novel, quote, elevators are death traps, so they wouldn't have used them. That meant climbing 30 flights of stairs and then planning to engage in a gun battle with an unknown number of opponents.
What would have been the other plan?
To
Rob?
presume that things would have gone badly understates things significantly. So the whole idea of they had the high ground.
So what's the other plan?
I don't know. They
Come in through the roof?
I don't know. But
All right.
they're not. I don't think that was thought out very well. The whole
Well,
breaching of the.
if
They had the high ground.
if Deputy Chief Robinson is the one who's setting all this up and training everyone,
Then it went
these
as
cops, it went as
yeah, that's
exactly
true.
as it should have.
That's good point. Good point. Yeah,
Because he's bad at his job. Do you think he gets fired after that?
yeah.
He should.
He should have. Yeah.
At least he gets knocked down to a patrolman.
At least a tongue lashing. The next morning, the chief's like, I got a call in the middle of the night. What is going on over at Nakatomi?
We lost 2 FBI agents.
Well, they don't seem to care about that.
No.
LAPD is like, man,
And
FBI.
then the poor Walt
Couple
has
more
to
jumps
shut
as
the
a
power
man.
grid down. He just
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Poor
just doing his
Walt.
job.
Just
Christmas
trying.
Eve. He's
Yeah.
like,
I don't know. Just do it.
They're just telling me to turn it off.
All right,
How
what-
about the United States government?
what do you call that might be one of the worst lines in the
Yeah.
movie. It sounds tough, but it's really stupid.
Yeah.
How about the United States? What do you got, Kurt?
Alrighty, I had the fire hose after the wheel
Yeah.
breaks off the wall, just magically stops, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
don't
think,
see a
I think
problem.
John weighs a little more than that. That thing's going right over the edge.
He's in good shape.
real fast.
He's
Yeah.
only about $1.75, $1.80. He's fine.
And him dropping all the way doesn't make it go over the edge, but him just trying to swing back and forth makes it go over the edge.
Well, I will say him swinging around with that gun in the elevator shaft is also a tough situation
Yeah,
to
yeah,
digest all the way. I mean,
Yeah.
it's great. It makes for great cinema, but and when he's stuck in the metal, the air conditioning
The air
pipe
vent,
or whatever, they're shooting into it. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Really, we didn't hit him. There's
They
nowhere to go in there.
barely
Like,
missed him though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All you got to do is just spray for 2 minutes. They already wasted 1,000 bullets into the sky downstairs with the terrorists.
and having
with the
200 pounds
hostages.
in one of those vent things,
Oh.
it's
Yeah.
going to come crashing.
You would
out.
have known
would've
exactly
said it.
where he
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. If
here's
it
the
would have
pipe,
held him.
Here's the pipe, and then there's this part. And
Yeah.
freaking Carl could have been like,
And I read that the scene where he's going down into the shaft
Mhm.
and he falls.
And can magically catch himself
Yes.
into the
That-
with
That's what
just
I'm
the
saying.
fingertips.
Just the fingertips.
That wasn't
Perfect.
planned. The stuntman fell. And they just kept it in,
Oh.
and then it just made.
Did
for
he catch
good.
himself?
No, he didn't. He
Oh,
just
okay.
bing bongs down
Bing-
the thing, and then
Bing.
so they
so you're telling me the
Yeah.
stuntman's dead? Is that what
I
they're
don't know.
I'm pretty sure he was harnessed.
yeah, they're
Let's
stuntmen. That's what they get paid to do.
That's what they get paid
okay.
to do.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that covers category 8.
Category 8
Takes us to our last final category,
Category 9.
which is Kurt,
Best example of why this is
a Christmas,
Christmas
movie.
movie.
All right.
Go ahead, Kurt.
I went, all right, he's coming to LA because it's Christmas.
Yes.
Mhm.
To see his family. He's got the gifts. So I just simply put, there would be no movie because he never would come to LA if it wasn't Christmas.
Yeah. What else is he coming out there for?
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
All right, Rob.
I'm not.
Tell us your best example.
Well, okay, and
since you think it's not a Christmas movie, is this even a category you
I
want
could go farther
engage
if
in?
you want me to.
keep going. We got time. We got plenty of tape on the reels. We're good.
There are 21 references to Christmas as counted by StephenFollows.com.
Accurate.
Including holiday parties, Santa hats, Christmas trees, ho-ho-hos,
Yes.
and Christmas in Hollis by Run DMC.
Okay.
Perfect.
There are also 3 other Christmas songs in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see here. It's making the movie music more Christmas-like than over 99% of films over the last 3 decades.
Okay.
He's got
All right.
wrapping tape on his back that you wrap a gift with.
That's right.
I don't. Oh, I'm gonna let you go because
Okay.
I have one thing that
Right.
that will help your cause. It's something I would actually like to dig into a little bit more. But
You're a digger.
Go ahead.
Okay, I've got some really stuff that's going to make your rotaries spin inside your little brain here. All right. I already told you earlier you didn't like it, but the wife's name is Holly. So
I
we'll
know.
start there.
Yeah.
There are 12 terrorists taking over the building. 12 days of Christmas.
Very good.
Okay, they got that. Not a coincidence. Christmas, as he said, is mentioned multiple times. The sweatshirt, ho, ho, ho. John is concerned with the family during the holiday season. There's a child waiting to be born, Sergeant Powell's. And the hunt for the lone savior, McClane, is pretty Christmassy.
Okay.
Die Hard was released in the summer. So people are like, oh, well, it's not a holiday movie. Well, comparison. The movie Holiday Inn was released in August of 1942.
Okay.
Miracle on 34th Street, released in May of 1947. White Christmas, released in October 1954. You say it's not a Christmas movie, but let's go with this. It's a Wonderful Life. We were talking about this at breakfast this morning.
We were.
It's a Wonderful Life. It's a beloved Christmas movie that people say and watch every year at Christmas time that takes place at Christmas, but the other 2 hours of the movie have nothing to do with Christmas. It's him growing up. It's
And
him doing all these other things.
Did you know that was filmed
Mhm.
during the hottest
Yeah.
day of the year, like in
Exactly.
whatever? That was his first movie back from the war.
Yeah. And
And
so,
it was
but
it
It's
was
a
filmed
Wonderful
during a
Life
heat
is
wave.
considered a Christmas movie, and 95% of the movie is not even at Christmas.
Okay.
All right. A Christmas Carol, special Dickens.
Yeah.
There is not really anything Christmassy about that. That could happen at any time of the year. 3 Ghosts could change your trajectory of your life anytime during the year. They're just using Christmas as a backdrop to draw you in because Christmas makes people feel good. All right. But you could get those 3 ghosts at any time. So what they're doing, I mean, Home Alone, you could say that's not a Christmas movie. I could have left him alone in the summer. That he could have still got robbed. Everything could have happened just exactly the same way. All right. So Home Alone, but what they do is just like Die Hard. They take the backdrop of Christmas because people like Christmas, makes them feel good. So in that vein, wrapping it all around, it is a Christmas movie, Rob. And Hans Gruber says in the movie,
Hans,
it's
your
Christmas.
favorite.
Your favorite.
Yeah,
It's Christmas time, Theo. It's a time for miracles.
Okay.
That is
All
an
right.
exact quote
Which
from your
is
man.
the McClanes getting
Hans
back together
Gruber.
at the end.
All
There you
right.
go.
Family ties.
Well, I will acknowledge.
So it is a Christmas movie.
Okay. All right. Well, I will acknowledge that 20th Century Fox has formally admitted, and it's your wife that, because she, in one of the quotes, I think she might have done the survey, and she said, the directors have said it's a Christmas movie.
Yes.
So 20th Century Fox formally admitted that this film is a Christmas movie. Their quote is, they consider it the greatest Christmas story ever told.
Beautiful.
Okay. I will acknowledge that is what they've said.
Yes.
The
'Cause it's true.
director also thinks it's a Christmas film.
Yes.
Here's my stance on it. If you were to take all mentions of Christmas out of Die Hard, the movie would still feel exactly the same. The only real changes would be that the lines mentioning Christmas could be changed to standard cheesy 80s action movie dialogue. For a movie to be a Christmas movie, it has to be about Christmas. That's my opinion. Die Hard isn't a Christmas movie. John could be going to see his family for a birthday, graduation, promotion, or just a plain reunion. It could literally take place at any time of the year, but would be fit most at New Year's. You could even keep the Christmas decorations up. But I have a little sound bite for you. Here you go.
Here we go.
Now, please listen very carefully. Die Hard is not a Christmas movie.
That is Bruce Willis.
Yeah, but I don't care.
On record as
He didn't
saying,
write the movie.
I
He
don't
didn't
care.
direct the movie. He's just running around in the movie. He doesn't get the input on the movie.
Oh, I think he does.
So he does not. You know, you
So,
said that.
I still think it's an action movie that takes place
Okay.
at Christmas time.
You
not
said-
at Christmas time. Oh, but you something that I did find that I would like
Yes.
to dig into more. There's some theories out there that it is a modernized version of It's a Wonderful Life,
Okay.
and that Hans
go.
Gruber is Mr. Potter.
Yum.
John McClane is, so anyway.
I sure do like Mr. Potter. But anyway, you say it has to be about Christmas. One of your favorite movies is Elf.
Yeah.
That's not about Christmas. That's about him going to find his father. Christmas is wrapped around it. But again, him going through the 7 layers of the candy cane forest, popping out of the Lincoln Tunnel, going to the Empire State Building, those honestly don't have anything to do with Christmas. They're just using Christmas again as a backdrop. And if you want to retort with, well, he was on the naughty list, so we went to see him. That naughty list is around all year long. He could have seen that in June just as easily as he saw it in December.
No.
And then he takes off because they make toys all year up at the North Pole, Rob. So again, that movie's not technically about Christmas. It's about him finding his father.
Yeah.
So that argument starts to take on a little water and your boat's starting to not float. That's what's happening.
You're both
So,
I'm going to maintain.
all
that
right.
it's
Well,
not
we'll go with a
Christmas.
2, a +2. It is a
Yes.
Christmas movie. To your 1,
Now
it's
you're
not a
getting
Christmas
2 on
movie.
1, Rob. How do you
And
like it?
I'm
I
going to
do
go
not
ahead
like
too.
it.
And so, listeners, let
That's
us
fine.
know
And
after
I-
you hear this episode.
And I don't need it.
Is
I
it a
don't need you
Christmas?
to ask them because I know they're all going to come back and they're all going to send you stupid emails and texts and they're going to tell you how great you were and how stupid I was and
Well, I am.
how Chicago's great and Creed's stupid
Yes.
and
Well,
yeah.
I am great. So,
whatever.
well, all right. So, final judgment. Is this still as good as you remember? Is it an all-time classic or just an okay movie after rewatching it? And is it a must-watch for you every Christmas?
I would say it is a must-watch and classic.
Absolutely. I am also must-watch classic. We watch every year before Christmas.
I do not watch it every year before Christmas, and I hadn't watched it in many years,
Mhm.
but I have a deeper appreciation for it.
I feel like putting it in the repertoire to show the family would be great. Get them
Repertoire.
around the TV. The
Yeah.
stockings
Oh,
are
no,
hung
they-
by the
they
chimney with
watched it.
care. And
They
let's
had
go.
to watch it every time I walked in the room, and I was watching
Perfect.
it again. They were like, "Oh,
Yes.
you're watching this again?"
Yeah.
No, I think I have a deeper appreciation for it now, because of where it sits in the
in the pantheon.
pantheon of
of-
action films and
Nice.
what it did for current, for the future action
Beautiful.
films. So I think it
and future Christmas movies.
deserves.
Yes.
No.
Every December, you will watch it from
You
now
will
on.
watch it from now on.
Nope. Now I'm going to watch it. I'm going to think about it every Christmas,
Yes.
and I'm going to be pissed off that
You wish that you
That
were
you will
watching
be
it.
watching it for
No.
Christmas.
So you should be watching
I'm going
it
to watch it in the summer.
every
It's a
Christmas.
summer blockbuster.
Oh, the weather outside is dreadful.
So stupid.
We will sing you off of this show, Rob. All right.
You're-
Well, I think that covers everything.
Hey, motherfucker.
I think
That's
that
right.
covers everything you would ever need to know about Die Hard. Do you have anything else, Rob?
I've got nothing.
Kurt?
I got nothing either.
He's got nothing. Well, then that means real quick, if you enjoy this podcast, please take a second, give it 5 stars, drop us a review. That helps the podcast, makes us feel good about ourselves too. I am great, as Rob said. Also, check out our website at totally80s90srecall.podbean.com, where you can find links to all of our social media sites, as well as subscribe to our Facebook group for weekly updates. We do some videos on there, future episode ideas, lots of fun to be had. If you want to get in touch with us, email the show at 80s90srecall@gmail.com or any of our social media sites. That'll allow you to recommend future show ideas, comment on previous topics, and ask us questions. We will answer the questions. You might not like our answers, but we will definitely give you some. Finally, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're awesome over there. It's lots of fun. Rob and I, plus when Kurt stops into the studio, we highly recommend it. It is a holly jolly, rocking good time, Rob. Is that right?
That was a lot.
That
I'm
was
not
a
done
lot.
yet.
Oh.
Links to all of our social links to all of our social media, merchandise store, and email are included in the show notes. So be sure to check them out after this episode.
And you are more than able.
More
And,
than able.
We receive letters.
We do.
We
receive
got
letters.
we got a good letter today. Today's we
Very
shared
shocking.
one. Yeah,
It's
I appreciate
a little
that you
sad
didn't-
because Daddy was in
Yeah,
the
Dad
chimney.
got stuck in the chimney.
yeah, that's it's very.
That's the way it happens.
But it has a happy ending.
yeah,
Really?
we bring joy.
Does she have a
Well,
we
father?
do.
Yeah.
So
her dad, it doesn't bring her dad back.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to our listener.
yes,
But
but if
yeah.
but if you can, you know what, you should make her an honorary member of the Robsters.
Ooh, there you
That
go.
would be good. Right there. So, all right. Well, Nakatomi is safe. Hans is dead, and the true love story of John McClane and Sergeant Powell can begin to bloom. So that means it's the end of the road for us. We hope you've enjoyed our look back at the Christmas classic Die Hard. We'd like to thank all of our listeners, whether first-timers or subscribers, for hanging out with Rob, Kurt, and I. Hopefully we gave you an hour or so of some laughs and great memories. And don't forget to tune in for all new episodes of Totally 80s and 90s Recall every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday.
Yeah, I got nothing.
You got nothing else?
No.
You
That was
forgot
a good
this part of the show. We've been doing it for a year now, but it's okay. You know, we have a formulaic kind of thing that we do, and you've completely forgotten it today. So, what do you got?
What's our homework for next
What's
time?
our homework for next time? He did remember, folks. Ding ding. It's too bad you don't have your ding dings anymore.
I d-
He is a ding ding.
We are Rob doing a 80s New Year's Eve party playlist. So you're going to put together a 10-song playlist of what you would like played at a New Year's Eve party of 80 songs. So you've got
that's fun.
You've got the entire decade to choose from here, Rob. You're getting, like I said, 10 songs. I'll have 10 songs. We're going to put together a 20 song playlist of what would get you through a New Year's Rockin' Eve.
Ooh, how many booty
This
jams
year.
will you each have?
We will only hope to see a few, because
So-
otherwise it could become a saucy New Year's Eve party.
Ooh, saucy. So,
You're gonna booty jam or make a love
Booty jam, I'm making love. Rob.
two different things.
Two different
right.
songs.
Yeah, I've learned that now.
gotta know the
I-
difference.
yeah.
As
And you know-
listening, I learned that as well.
Not
Yeah.
only do you have to know the difference, but
See, we
who
teach
and when
things.
to play them for. So,
That's right.
Yeah, that's true. We
certain ladies get the love, certain ladies get the booty.
wow.
Ooh, you want to move up to the make a love song?
Making love. So
When you pull out that special CD that says "Make a Love," you did
all
something
right.
right.
So yes, so we're gonna put together an 80s New Year's Eve party playlist, Rob. So prep yourself for that, because I know how much you like to party. You
Yeah.
got anything else?
I have nothing else.
Nothing else. Kurt, you got anything else?
Nope, I got nothing.
Nope. Fancy goodbye.
No fancy goodbye.
Boom. No fancy goodbye.
No.
Welcome to the Robsters.
What was your advice?
About what?
The booty jam? Who to give it to or something?
You gotta know. There's booty jams and love songs. You gotta know who to give it to and when to play it.
Wow.